send this link in my audio. Interesting. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. All right, let's see. I'm trying to. This studio is a little different than the stream. OBS stream directly is configured properly. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see how this comes out. So there's Moreh Josiah. Let's try this other. Let's see if this is better. Okay. Let's try this one here. See if this is better. Testing 1, 2, 3. Yeah, the volume is low. I'm trying to figure out the configuration. The studio is a little different than the stream. I'm streaming from. Let's see if this is better. Okay, that's a little louder. Okay. Let's try this one here. It's not using my regular mic. Better. I can hear it now. Testing 1, 2, 3. Yeah, the volume is low. Okay, so yeah, so that works. Okay, now let's see if I can get Moreh Josiah on here. Let's see. Let's see. Add, invite guests, copy link, and how do I chat? Here we go. Chat. Okay. This is a little different than stream because it's not picking up my regular mic. It's picking up my camera mic. For some reason or another, it doesn't like the way it's configured. But we'll figure it out. All right, that's the link there. Click on that link, Moreh Josiah, and Light. If you want to come in, click the link. We have others. We have a total of 5 people that's tuned in. Okay, let's see what I got here. Okay. Something's wrong here. This is the first time I'm doing this on this particular computer. Let's try it again. Okay, there he is. All right. There he is.
Uh-huh. Okay, let's see if I can get this thing
Uh,
going.
Now I gotta figure out why I can't hear you. Say something, Moreh.
Hey, shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom, shalom.
Okay, let me see. Hold on. Why can't I hear you?
Let me
Is your
see,
mic?
shalom.
Say something again.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me see, make sure. Okay, wait a
Okay,
minute.
let me see what's going on here. Something's
Shalom,
not right
shalom, shalom,
on my
shalom.
end.
Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing.
Oh, I see. I see why I can't hear you. Okay.
Wait, hold on 1 second.
Hey, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay.
A little different with this Restream Studio. So this is not how we broadcast on the Shabbat. I broadcast through my OBS application, which goes directly into my module that records my audio. So right now you're hearing from the camcorder's audio, which is not direct. I had to figure out how to configure it. So,
There we go.
all right,
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right, there we go. There we go.
All right, I'm gonna let you go
Caught
ahead and open
myself.
up.
Now I caught myself catching a few Z's before time, man. I woke up, I'm like, man, I'm a little bit late. But it's all
I
good.
was having technical issues.
Huh?
I was having technical issues.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, we on though.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
I'm
Oh
gonna put
yeah.
the ball in your court, and you can navigate where we're gonna go from here.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Well, yeah. So anyway, yeah. So Genesis, man. They put out the video in regarding can Gentiles be saved. I don't know if you got a chance to see all these other videos that the different One West camps brought out, man. But
Right.
they got them in uproar.
So why don't you share some of those links, and then I can share the screen. I don't know if if I can get you to share your screen, but I can do it from here if you give me the links.
Okay, yeah, because I'm on my phone, so I don't know. Like I'm hardly ever on the computer, man. I'm hardly ever on the computer or laptop. So
What,
uh,
can you text while you streaming?
hold on 1 second. Let me I tell you what.
You can text me the link, and then I can pull it up. But
All
what
right.
while you doing that, I'll go ahead and pull up the the original video.
Okay.
Reached out to me and was just like,
Hold
you
on
know,
one second.
my child's really
Uh, Let me see if I can find. Okay, I'm on my other phone.
Oh,
Matter of
okay.
fact, I guess I should let me see if I can. Mm, Let me see what I do. Let me see if I can get into the room on this phone. Um, okay, let me see. Man, I used to be so tech savvy.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Okay, while you pulling it up, let me see if I can share my screen. Let's see, share my screen. Okay. Okay, so this is the video, the initial video.
Okay,
Israelites
yeah.
can receive salvation. First and foremost, let's give all praises, honor, and glory to our Heavenly Father, Yahweh. We do so by Shema Mashiach Yahushai. It's Priest Sakai, joined by my beloved brother.
It's Brother Asad. What's going on, everybody?
And we don't want to waste no time, y'all. We want to get right into it. I want to address something real quick because we don't want to take away from all this edification with drama, slander, and gossip. I heard there was some proof of an expose from our brother over there, and I just want to say, if you got that, expose it. And that's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna get on no back and forth little kid shit. We want to make this about edification for the body and the nation. So we're getting.
Yeah, it's amazing that these brothers. I'm gonna do a breakdown one of these days on the origin of swearing. Because we the camps, they frown on the Gentiles, who they call Esau, everything that Esau, but they always highlight a lot of the teachings from the Gentiles, who they call Esau.
Mm-hmm.
And the origin of swearing, all those words, the F word, the S word, and all those words come from Europe. They have European origin. They're not in the Hebrew origin at all. They come from Europe.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do a breakdown on that one day. Why do we feel the need to embrace European culture if we're attacking it?
Right into it. Let me share my screen.
And yeah, listen, y'all gonna want to make sure y'all pay attention. That's all I'm gonna say. All praise to the Most High. So y'all see the title of the
get into playing it. Tell me what was your overall thoughts concerning the video?
Well, we've been teaching this for years. So I think that those brothers spy on our classes.
Yeah.
And when they hear us present certain things that's from the scriptures, they can't deny it.
Mm-hmm.
So they've gone against their camp doctrine from what they see in the scriptures, from things that we present. Not just simply just us, but I mean, we like the grandfathers in this Hebrew Israelite walk.
Right.
And so you got a lot of people come after that. And every now and then somebody will pop up and say, use my teacher. And I always say, use my teacher. So you the great grandfather.
And that's the weird thing, because I hear you say that a lot when you say that, they be you will know when you hear and they get something and it'll prick your ears. You be like, damn, that sounds like something that we taught or something that we said, the style and everything. But I have never seen it so more apparent than on this particular video, man. This particular video, I was like, wow. It was almost like 100%, like, and I mean, like you say, they'd never tell you from whence they got whatever understanding from, especially if it was from a source that's not related to One West or whatever. So they'll never reveal that. And at the end of the day, y'all knows, it's not really important, man. But the important thing is that for them to do such a extensive breakdown on this topic, man, which is a whole 180-degree turn from everything that they had been about, so that it had to come somewhere. It don't just come, just because you decided to study and all of a sudden. No, they'll never tell you where it all comes from, and it doesn't matter, man. But I've never been more impressed with anything from any One West camp ever than to and matter of fact, I was trying to look at this one video because Gorilla Hebrew, he done about 2 or 3 videos now. And I was looking at one from yesterday, as a matter of fact.
What up yesterday?
Yeah. And then yesterday he decided to put up one. And that's been about his 3rd video since this video came out that he called himself addressing. And now he done put the tag on him that it was a money agenda of the reason why they decided to change their doctrine. So that they could generate more money. I'm like, man, the stuff that I done heard people say, that One West people say in regarding, you had another group, they had utterance and threatenings, because their lives, concerning this. I'm like, man, I'm like, if there was no truth concerning what these brothers brought out there, I mean, the level of anger that I've seen across the board, man, is like next level, man. It's like these cats are confounded, because but that's what happened when you put your trust in man, and that's basically what they've always done. Put their trust in man. Right. And they have allowed themselves to believe that One West is the foundation of Hebrew Israelites. It just like how it reminds me of how Chicago got this one particular foundation, and all the offshoots that come out of that foundation.
Yeah.
They might have a few different nuances in their doctrines, but one thing they're gonna be united on, and ain't none of them gonna be like, "Oh man, we were wrong in that." Is that they're all gonna be united in Jesus.
Exactly.
You know what I'm talking about? They all,
So, Gorilla Hebrew, did he ever deal with the scriptures, or did he just deal with his personal issues in his other videos?
Yeah, it's 100. It was the one that he did. The last one I seen him do. He gonna read a few things, just a couple of scriptures regarding Amalek, and then maybe 1 or 2 scriptures regarding Edom, and he uses those passages regarding Amalek and Edom to explain how there ain't no salvation for Gentiles. Because you see what the scripture says concerning Amalek, you see what it says concerning Edom. I'm like, oh man, wow, it's horrible. And a few other groups, ISUPK, I think did one. Yeah. And they've all been like horrible, man. The so-called breakdowns or responses have been horrible, man. I mean, like, man, very bad. But
they had to deal with the content, not so much all of the scriptures that was shared is a whole lot more than what he shared, what Hassan and them shared in the video. But just the ones that he shared, they had to deal with that.
Yeah. Yes. And none of them dealt with it. I done seen at least 5 videos of the different groups trying to address it, man. And all you hear is the personal stuff, anger, and not one time have I heard any of them deal specifically with any passage that they shared, man. Trying to deal with correcting them about Cornelius being a Hebrew Israelite. Like, no, I mean, they have absolutely nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. And the class was pretty, I mean, like I said, I don't think I ever seen any of they breakdown be as what's the word? As specific as thorough. I say thorough. That's the word I'm looking for. That's one of the most thorough lessons I've ever seen any of them do. That was thorough and on point at the same time. And it's like I use that when they talk about Stephen. When you read about Stephen in Acts, it's like they couldn't gainsay or resist, basically. You know, from a scriptural point of view, they couldn't gainsay or resist what anything that these cats brought out in that lesson. Yeah.
So before we play the video, are there any scriptures that stick out in your mind that you'd like to share to just kind of put the nail in the coffin?
You know, I wish I would have sat and took notes when I first, because they
I have
brought
the
out,
slide.
huh?
Download the slide. So if you want to look at what they presented.
Yeah. Well, I know one thing. When they brought out that First Kings 8 chapter, that shocked me, because that First Kings 8 chapter is like, you know, when Solomon's dedication to the temple.
Yeah.
When I'm like, oh yeah, y'all been listening to somebody when you bought that out like that, for sure.
So we can read that. Let me see. I was looking for something. I have a little itchy eye for some reason or other. You said Second Kings?
No, First Kings 8 chapter, and
It talks about the pray towards the land.
yeah.
First Kings 8.
First Kings 8 and 41.
41. Okay. All right, go ahead and read it.
Okay, it said, moreover concern the stranger that is not of thy people. And I think before they read that, I think they might have mentioned, because, you know, I'm kind of paraphrasing them, that, you know, one West get that word stranger confused, because a lot of times, every time they see the word stranger, they think it's talking about the Israelite.
Right.
And they use First Peter, I think that's First Peter, when it says to the 12, to the strangers scattered abroad or whatever.
Yeah.
But we know that that's talking about the Israelite when you read that. So they would generally apply the word stranger to Israelites throughout wherever they read that in the Bible. But here they read that concerning a stranger that is not of thy people. You can't do nothing with that. You can't make that be an Israelite, because it's telling you that the stranger is not of thy people, but coming out of a far country for thy name's sake. For they shall hear of thy great name, of thy strong hand, and of thy stretched out arm, when he shall come and pray toward this house. And he says, hear thou in heaven thy dwelling place, and do according to all that the stranger calleth to thee for, that all people of the earth may know thy name, to fear thee, as do thy people Israel, and that they may know that this house which I have builded is called by thy name. And see, every time I read that, I'm always reminded, I don't think they went here. I don't think they went here, but I'm always reminded in the book of Yahshua when the Gibeonites came. And that was how, yeah.
Right.
And that was specifically how they deceived Yahshua and them, because they like for his name's sake, for the name of YAH are we come, you know, and we come from a far country. So when you read that, that lets you know that Yahshua and them, they knew that their whole purpose was to have strangers come in Israel, join them. By joining themselves to Israel, you join yourself to YAH. You join yourself to the covenant.
Right.
And what make that even so deep is that when they join themselves to YAH, they don't join themselves to YAH being a slave or anything like that. They join themselves being fellow heirs. Oh, and I don't think they read Ezekiel 44 either. Concerning the inheritance of the Gentiles in the land. I don't think they may have. I don't think they did read that one. But
Ezekiel what?
Is that Ezekiel 44 when it talks about? Let me see. I think it's 44.
Okay, let's read it.
Like I said, I didn't bring my notes. Let me see. Oh, not 44. Let me see. 40.
Shabbat shalom, brother. Elihu just chimed in.
All right, good deal. I believe it's Ezekiel. It might be Ezekiel 46. Let me see. Or it might be 47.
What is this? What does it read? What does it start?
Okay, so yeah. So Ezekiel 47.
47. Okay.
Ezekiel 47. And let me see. I think I'm gonna start off at the 21st verse. Ezekiel 47:21, where it says, "So shall ye divide this land unto you according to the tribes of Yashrael. And it shall come to pass that you shall divide it by lot for an inheritance unto you, and to the strangers that sojourn among you, which shall begot children among you, and they shall be unto you as born in the country." Oh, that's another one they didn't read. And that's Leviticus 19. But here it said, "And they shall be unto you as born in the country among the children of Yashrael. They shall have inheritance with you among the tribes of Yashrael. And it shall come to pass that in what tribe the strangers sojourn it, there shall you give them this inheritance, says Yah Elohim." So that's clear. That's prophetic.
So what constitutes a stranger?
Well, just like what we just read in First Kings, a stranger that is not of thy people. It was very clear when it says that. But here, did it use the term? It should come back. Yeah, a strangers that sojourn among you. So the definition of a stranger is simply that if you are in a land that is not your own, you are a stranger. That's the definition of the word stranger.
Right.
So an Israelite cannot be
a foreign nation.
Right. An Israelite cannot be a stranger in Israel.
Because we're not foreigners.
Right. You can't be a stranger when you're at home. But anywhere outside of Israel, we're strangers. We're strangers here in America. We're strangers. So that's what the definition of a stranger is. If you're in another land, you're a stranger. So that applies to that applies anywhere.
Right. So is it kind of like the original when the Mosai said, "Let's go to Abraham," what he told Abraham, right?
Right.
To circumcise those that are in his house. Okay, those that are of the seed.
When he told them that, let me see if I got this correct. Yeah, when he told them that, he did not have any children. When he told them that,
that's right.
Because he's like, oh, all I have here is Eleazar, my servant. Right.
So that's let's go to Genesis 17.
Oh yeah.
17 and
okay. All right.
Start at verse 9. Let's start at verse 9. 17, start at verse 9. Okay. So it says
is Elihu on camera? I'm sorry, is Elihu on camera?
No. Let me give him the link. Elihu, click on the link so we can bring you in.
All right.
Okay, while we're waiting on him. So Genesis 17:9 says, Elohim said to Abraham, "Thou shalt keep my covenant. Therefore thou and thy seed after thee in their generations. This is my covenant which you shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised. And you shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant betwixt me and you. And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every man child in your generations. He that is born in the house or bought with money of any stranger," there goes that stranger again, "which is not of thy seed. He that is born in thy house, he that is bought with money, must needs be circumcised, and my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant."
Wow.
So he said, he made a specification. He said, "Of your seed," and then he defined what a stranger was, "and the stranger that is not of thy seed."
Right. Mm-hmm.
So that means they not Israelites.
Right.
The stranger is not of his seed.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So now elaborate on that a little bit. Who would fit that bill to be classified as a stranger?
Shoot, everybody, whoever desires to join themselves to the covenant, have to join themselves to the ones that he made a covenant with.
Right.
You know, just like Gentiles. I'm sorry, just like Gentiles now, you got a lot of Gentiles that made their own assemblies, and them did, you will see them declaring the name of YAH, and that's good. But biblically, you have to join yourself to the people. You see that all throughout the scriptures, that you have to join yourselves to the people in order to join yourselves to the covenant.
Right.
So
Right.
with Genesis taking a stand like the stand that they took, I wouldn't be surprised, and hopefully they're able to accept the challenge of accepting Gentiles that decided to join themselves. Because, and I like they read the what's that in the book of Timothy? They did read this one concerning about how Israelites shut the door on Gentiles. I'm just paraphrasing the verse.
Right.
How they accuse you of teaching the Gentiles or so. Well, man, I wish I had my notes with me. I think that's in one of the books of Timothy where it talks about that. And they did read that.
Right.
We're gonna find that, but before we find that, I want to read this. I don't think they brought this out.
Okay. Now, while you getting that, when you were speaking, this came to my mind when you mentioned that it's not about you just embracing the covenant, but Isaiah 56:3 says, it says, neither let the son of the stranger that have joined himself to YAH speak, saying, YAH had utterly separated me from his people.
Yeah.
It can't be, because without the people, you can't be a part of it, because it has to be a seed before there could be a stranger, right?
Right.
So that I just thought about that when you mentioned that, because see, some people want to embrace the covenant and we don't want to acknowledge that y'all are the seed.
That's right. That's right.
You can't do that.
Yep. 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 And what you read, and they did read that. They did read Isaiah 56.
Yeah.
And so if we're speaking from a prophetic,
Right.
because Isaiah 56 is prophecy, then it's real easy to understand that we're dealing with present day now as well, Here's a passage that okay. Here's another passage. I don't think they read this one. I'm gonna let you play some of that too.
Okay. Give me the timestamp where that video is, if you know the timestamp.
Oh, I don't know any of that. I don't know any of that. I wish they would have divided it by according to timestamp.
Because that's a 3-hour video. I had to fish through and find it, but I know exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, Leviticus the 19th chapter. I don't think they read this.
Let me pull it up. Leviticus 19.
Uh-huh.
Okay, 19 and what?
Let me see. Hold on 1 second. Starting at verse 15. I'm going to skip after I read verse 15. Okay. Oh, I got it. So at verse 15, it says, you shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. Thou should not respect the person of the poor, nor honor the person of the mighty, but in righteousness shall thou judge thy neighbor.
Right.
Then you skip down to verse 33.
Okay.
Verse 33, it reads, and if a stranger sojourn with thee in your land, you shall not vex him. But the stranger that dwelleth with you shall be unto you as one born among you. So we see, so some people might be confused when they read stranger in that 33rd verse, but the 34th verse tells you specifically, said, but the stranger that dwelleth with you shall be unto you as one born among you, meaning that the stranger is not born among you.
Right.
The stranger is not an Israelite.
Right.
And thou shalt love him as thyself. For you were strangers in the land of Mizraim. I am Yahuwah your Elohim.
Right.
So the foundation, and they didn't read concerning the covenant of Abraham either, like what you just read. They didn't read about, how the covenant is about us being a blessing to all nations. They didn't. I don't believe they read that either. But
Right.
you have to
The
read the
foundation.
right, right, absolutely. Without this,
Before.
and that's what I try to tell them, that without the foundation, man,
Right.
you don't know what being an Israelite is all about.
Right. Right.
Because
Because before there was a Jacob, there was an Abraham.
right, and not only that, the purpose existed before the people. He didn't just choose Israel because I want to bless these people because they're descendants of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. No, it was a purpose that we were born into. Without
For
the
the
purpose, there's no
right.
reason to be an Israelite. The Israelite wouldn't even exist without the purpose.
Right. So don't know.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that the Most High had a foreknowledge.
Right. He had a foreknowledge. He had a system in place that was all about him spreading truth among all the sons of Adam.
Right.
So there was a need for there to be a covenant people, but the covenant people had to be insistent or persistent in the covenant in order for the plan of YAH to take place. So that's the reason why again, going back to the Gibeonites, Yahshua knew that that's what was supposed to happen. That people were supposed to come from near and far to serve Yah and enjoying themselves with the people of the covenant.
So now what I want you to do is elaborate a little more, because a lot of people don't have any knowledge about the Gibeonites. So can you kind of break it down? So
Okay,
for the listeners, we got 18 people tuned in now.
Oh, how many?
We got 18 people tuned in now.
Okay, I'm glad you said that.
Semi-mega right now.
All right, so we're in Yahshua, the 9th chapter. Let's look at that.
Okay.
Yahshua, the 9th chapter.
Wait, but hold on. Let me get there. 9 and what?
I'm gonna start it at the top.
Okay, 9 and 1. Okay.
Yep.
All right, go ahead.
And it came to pass when all the kings which were on this side of Jordan, in the hills and in the valleys and all the coasts, the great sea over against Lebanon, the Hittite, the Amorite, the Canaanite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite heard thereof, that they gathered themselves together to fight with Yahshua and with Yashrael with one accord. And when it says and when, I thought it would have said but when, but it says and. And when the inhabitants of Gibeon heard what Yahshua had done unto Jericho and to Ai, they did work wildly, whatever, and went and made as if they had been ambassadors, and took old sacks upon their asses and wine bottles, old and rent and bound up, and old shoes and clouded upon their feet, and old garments upon them, and all the bread of their provision was dry and moldy. And they went to Yahshua unto the camp at Gilgal, and said unto him, now see, this was a bold move that they did, because they were, as we're about to find out, I believe they were only like a 3 days journey as the Israelites are moving throughout the territory, right? But instead of them waiting for them to come to them, they dressed themselves up as travelers from a far country, and they came to Shemaiah, aka Moses, Shemaiah and them, and they came to them as ambassadors from a far country. It makes you wonder, really, and as I'm thinking about it, like the scriptures don't say, but I wonder if they had a way of hiding their language, because I could almost believe that the Canaanites they might have had distinct dialects, but their language had to have been of a Canaanite language.
So are you saying who are you saying the Gibeonites are?
Yeah, the Gibeonites were, I believe they were out of Hivites, the Hivites, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, as a matter of fact, that's what he's about to say. They were Hivites.
So they were not Israelites.
Right, they were Canaanites.
That's powerful right there.
Yeah, it says and verse 6, I think that's where I stopped. It said, they went to Yahshua into the camp at Gilgal and said unto him and to the men of Yashrael, we be come from a far country, now therefore make a league with us. Because they knew that they weren't going to make a league with any of the Canaanites, right? So they presented themselves as a people from a far country. Verse 7, and the men of Yashrael said unto the Hivites, see, so it called them Hivites, peradventure and he said, peradventure you dwell among us. How shall we make a league with you? And I'm like, man, I wonder did they hear the Canaanite language when they spoke? And I don't know if I ever thought about it before, but I'm thinking about it now. But that's what Yahshua said to them. Like, peradventure you dwell among us, how shall we make a league with you? And they said unto Yahshua, we are thy servant. And Yahshua said unto them, who are you? From whence come ye? So listen to everything that they're saying to Yahshua. These guys were like lawyers for them to devise their appearance, for them to devise every word that came out of their mouth was like 100% on point. You know, it's like, huh?
So wait a minute, you bringing some stuff out that is making a person think, because we're under this impression that the Canaanites, all of them was cursed, and none of them could be saved. But now you bringing something out.
Right. And on that note, we got to keep in mind from a historical dynamic that there was already Canaanites among us. Because Rahab was a Canaanite, and all the people that were in her household on the day, wait a minute, hold on, I'm sorry. No. Wait a minute, hold up. Is that correct? Hold up. Was that before this or after this? Jericho.
Okay.
I forget. I was trying to. I thought it was before this. Hold up. Let me. Oh yeah, right. So yeah. So I'm correct. I had to refresh myself. Right. But the people that was part of Rahab's household were already a part of Israel. And I'm not sure if they ever gave a number to how many were saved when we took over Jericho. But then, from a historical perspective, we find out that Caleb was a Canaanite.
So wait a minute. So Rahab wasn't an Israelite.
Right. She
That's what the
wasn't
camps
Israelite. Huh?
That's what the camps teach, that Rahab was an Israelite.
Yeah, but see again, and see how crazy is that you allow somebody to tell you that and you don't even read it for yourself. And so I marvel at this entire lesson because all these scriptures that you read was already here. You done read these scriptures before. You can't say that you've never read these scriptures before, but yet you read them with that veil over your eyes. But how strong can that veil be? Just like the whole thing with Cornelius. How strong can that veil be that you would allow some man to try to tell you that this cat was an Israelite, when the whole purpose of the story of Cornelius is about him being a Gentile? And you allow somebody to just take it away from you. Okay? But right here again, from historical dynamic, there were all already Canaanites that were a part of Israel. So like I mentioned before, Caleb was a Canaanite. And he represented, huh?
Caleb was a Canaanite?
He was a Canaanite.
He wasn't the Israelite?
He wasn't the Israelite. You know?
Elihu coming in. There he is. Shabbat shalom, brother.
Hey, Shabbat shalom, Lakar.
Shabbat shalom. Hold on one second. Yeah, let me stop this. All right. Go ahead, Elihu. What's that?
Oh, no.
Yahshua, the 9th chapter. Do not disturb.
Josiah, you froze.
My bad. I think the thing with delay. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, Josiah froze.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you got me?
Got you now, yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, shalom. I was just trying to get filled in. I had started to watch the video a little bit today. I probably only got about 30 minutes in, can't even lie.
Okay.
It started for me, it kind of got cringe in my humble opinion. It got kind of cringe for me. I don't think I was able to finish it in that time frame, but I do like the fact that they now coming to newer conclusions. They definitely seem like they coming to newer conclusions. It sounded like you was probably going over scripture. You felt like they would have missed Mr. Moreh Josiah.
Oh yeah, they didn't get everything, but they got enough though. I'm gonna give them all the credit in the world. Praise the Most High that they were very, very in depth with their presentation.
Yeah.
So in depth that when I saw it, I'm listening. I'm like, man, this sounds familiar, man. The certain points, and I had Moreh Josiah listened to it, and he came back to me saying, man, they've been listening to us, bro. Certain things that they said, it is clear that they were listening to us. But so let me ask you, what was the cringe part? What made you feel cringe about
it? It seemed it was, I don't know. In my opinion, it seemed like a couple points, especially in the beginning. They was not as unapologetic with it, I guess. What's up?
No, I got you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so
Go ahead. I like that.
Yeah, it seemed as if they was still kind of trying to sympathize or really like play into the older ideas. If I'm not mistaken, the brother from Sakari, ain't it?
Yeah,
So
that's what they. Yeah, they sorry, right.
I think they were just playing it safe though at the end of the day. But I'm pretty sure if someday they're gonna be more unapologetic about it. I was actually sitting here reading from a book by some supposed Gentiles who had wrote about Abraham, right? And this just a perspective that we already know, but just to hear it in different words. Let me read this real quick. It's a couple sentences. It's the monotheistic faith firmly held by Abraham and the covenant with Elohim entered into by him and reaffirmed by his descendants identified this family as the inheritance or adherents of a special faith. The family did not claim exclusive rights to this faith, but on the contrary, were eager to attract others to it. I'm gonna stop right there. Whole time the perspective is if we talking about if we take our little personal traumas out, our 2025 traumas, our 1900s traumas out of it, and we look at it from the historical perspective, and we go back to Abraham, the person who was heralding it. Now, Abraham did not create this faith. He did not create none of these covenants. None of that. But he came up in the area where he had to respond to the area in a certain way. Ur of the Chaldees. He had to respond in a certain way. And so if he heralded a certain ideology, which is monotheism, of course he want to continue to bring more people in. Of course he want to extend it. Why would he want to keep it only with his family? Matter of fact, Abraham, being the business person he was, I can imagine him again want to be fruitful with the whole idea. Going back to the Genesis idea, be fruitful and multiply. Why would we ever say that salvation is only for a specific people? Now we gotta have what they call in Hebrew a mohin de galut, where we expand our consciousness. Mohin, your consciousness, de galut, a bigger consciousness to take it outside of your personal traumas and problems, which Israel had always had those traumas. We always had been standoffish during the first century, leading up to the temple being destroyed. We were standoffish to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because of traumas. But I think we gotta always, like Jeremiah 16, go back to find the old paths. We're gonna find that in Better Sheet. We're gonna find that in Genesis. We're gonna find that the exact goal of what we're doing and what we employed to do. Because, and I'm gonna lay my plane on this, because the way that I see it is almost like a business. This whole walk is kind of like a business, a corporation. And you take up a brand with this corporation. Don't misrepresent the brand. Don't take the name in vain. Don't misrepresent the brand. But definitely, we want to expand the brand. We want to continue to infect the whole world with this brand. From a business perspective, why would the world not be infected by righteousness? Why would you want to keep that to yourself? You know what I mean? Why would you share this? And I'm gonna read one more sentence from this. It say, the family did not claim exclusive rights to this faith, but on contrary, were eager to attract others to it. As this Elohim intoxicated family and those who joined them in faith grew in number, accepting the Torah as their divine constitution, taking possession of the land promised to them by the master of the universe, they assumed the characteristics of a nation, a people speaking a common language, living within a specified geographic area, sharing common memories and a common destiny, and exercising the attributes of national sovereignty. So again, I'm bringing it back to the point that if we talking about a family that's extending and expanding, and we taking it back to Abraham, the ideas and principles that Abraham's standing on, we can't never get to that point where we feel like it's selfish and we responding from our traumas and stuff like that. But I'm gonna land my plane. Notice.
Yeah. Bro, hallelujah for that. Hallelujah for that. And I'm glad that you brought that out there. Now let's get just a little bit more specific. I just want to share this. I'm a piggyback. I'm a piggyback on what you just said, because everything is about history. And from historical dynamic, let's see now. Noah served YAH, and that's the reason why the Father found grace in him that allowed his family to be delivered from the flood that as we read, destroyed mankind at that particular time. So just from that, we have to understand that Noah's righteousness was that he kept commandments that were taught to him, which come through the line of Enoch. Because we know that when Enoch was on this earth, he taught mankind concerning YAH. And then Noah and Methuselah, they had their time when they were teaching up until the time that the flood came. So then when we get down to Abraham, as you just picked up from, I think we should make a note that what was going on in Abraham's time was Nimrod was on the scene. And he was very influential with mankind, period, at that time. Because when he was around, we were all collectively in that one place, right? And he built the tower so that the people cannot separate. But during that particular time of that beginning, we find that the descendants of Shem included Peleg and Joktan, because it says in Genesis 11 chapter 4, in his days was the earth divided. So I'm saying it to say that because Nimrod and his gods was so influential among mankind that would be the reason why the Father would look upon Abraham and isolate him, because we know, according to the history books, Abram's father was an idol maker in the court of Nimrod. And so the faith that Abram had was that he ended up destroying all of those idols in his father's house, because he diligently sought out YAH. He diligently did that, and he risked his whole life to do something that it took somebody with integrity, somebody with great faith did. Matter of fact, his brother Haran was kind of on Abram's side when it was convenient, but then he didn't have that level of faith that Abram had, and he ended up dying because he was kind of iffy in his walk, in his faith. So I just wanted to throw that out there, and man, that was awesome for you to even bring that foundation of Abraham. And we were talking about it before you had came on concerning Abraham, the foundation, but you illuminated it. You went deep into it than we did. I'm glad that you did, man, because people need to understand first and foremost, and that's one of the issues that One West have, that you would think that YAH came from Israel, that everything was about Israel, but Israel, as we stated before you came, the purpose existed before the people existed. So yeah, that was good that you illuminated Abraham from the historical dynamic, because people, we really need to understand, man, this is about YAH. This ain't a Israel or a nationality thing. Or we wear it a little bit too much on our sleeve, that people do not have the right understanding concerning what we're really dealing with.
So wait a minute, Josiah. Question was asked: about Caleb, right? To this was from light unto the Gentiles. He said, "Can you show me where Caleb was a Canaanite, so I can have that information?"
Yeah, it's let's see where that's at. Where it talks about his father being Jephunneh of the Kenizzites. Hold on one second. I had to find it. Hold up. Hold on one second.
Numbers
One of
13.
y'all. Okay, so you got Numbers, the 13th chapter. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Let me see. And I'm going to have to find another place where it mentions, because it mentions Jephunneh, but it don't tell us where he come from or who he was there. Let me see.
Okay, we got light to the Gentiles on now. Shalom, brother. Shalom.
Can you hear me?
Hear you loud and clear.
Yeah. I came out to the car, just to be safe, but face reveal.
So this y'all don't know, but Brother Light is he's a main supporter of our channel. This Moreh Josiah, that's him at the top, and that's his right hand man there, Elihu.
Hello.
Y'all need to connect. That brother got some knowledge. Elihu got some knowledge. That's a deep brother right there, man.
Oh man,
yeah,
come on.
I'm only on 6% in the car, but I just wanted to. This is the perfect opportunity for me to show up because, Christian dad and one West mother, kind of scary to come on here.
Oh man, I didn't realize you on the screen for the first time, bro.
Yeah, people don't know what I look like, but they
don't know what you look like, man.
You know what you look like to me a little bit.
Help me out, woo.
Obadiah, Israel. Remember Obadiah? Israel heritage.
Yeah, he kind of remind you of him, man. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have my title was the Anonymous Israelite, so I treated myself like Batman, like nobody knows who I am.
Well, I'm a screenshot this screen, man, and distribute it among all Israelites, man. So you won't be able to hide. But look at this, man. That's Numbers, the 32nd chapter and the 12th verse.
Okay, go ahead. Numbers, you said, what was that again? Numbers what?
32 and 12.
Numbers 32 and 12.
Numbers.
Matter of fact, read that, man. Read it from 11 verse.
Okay, 32 and 12, 32 and 11?
Yeah.
Okay, Numbers 32 and 11. Okay.
You got it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There you go.
32:11. Surely none of the men that came up out of Mizraim from 20 years old and upwards shall see the land, which I swear unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob, because they have not wholly followed me, save Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, and Yeshua, the son of Nun, for they have wholly followed YAH. That's power right there, brother.
Uh-huh.
That's power.
And then, so when you read, you find out the Kenizzites were Canaanites.
Right.
But let me see.
See, I didn't know that. See, I just learned something new. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you did, because you read it in my book. You thought I made that up?
No. Hey, but you know what? Sometimes you read something and it just goes over your head.
Okay. Well, you know what? And that is true. That is absolutely true. Yeah, man. But this shoot. And so in my book, Shemaiah the lawgiver, at times that she's testing me because she got other verses and stuff.
Okay.
Time
Bring it
you
out.
need to come on in the room. Yeah, she's sharing other passages regarding this. But
Bring it out.
but anyway, so that was good that we brought that out though. But yeah, that's what Caleb was ethnically speaking. But yeah, I'm saying so in my book, which is a novel, I wrote it as a novel because I wanted to bring out certain things out of the book. So I wrote in my creative license concerning Caleb having been a part of Malikiyah's order, because he was the high priest of the Most High YAH.
Yeah.
And it would stand a reason that he would have had somebody that was of the Canaanite descendants that believed what he believed. Of course, all of them didn't believe, but I'm hard pressed to believe that the king of Salem and the priest of the Most High would not have had followers.
Right.
And those followers would have absolutely been Canaanites.
So wait a minute. So you're saying that some of those Canaanites were actual priests of YAH?
Well, I'm saying servants of YAH. Because again, this is the king of Salem. How he don't have Canaanite servants of YAH under him, and he's the king of Salem and the priest? That would have been impossible.
That changes the game a lot.
Yeah, but see, again, this goes into what Elihu brought earlier concerning understanding that people were serving YAH prior to even Abraham, prior to Isaac, prior to Yaakov. But as Israelites, man, we almost make it seem like YAH came from us instead of the other way around.
That's an excellent point.
Like we make the whole kingdom be all Israel, bloodline Israel. So the coming kingdom. And that's the reason why some of the people that listen to the lesson, they can see it a little bit. Yeah, there's gonna be Gentiles in the kingdom, but they're gonna be servants. You know, that's their way of trying to clean up their lack of understanding. But we just read in Ezekiel, the 47th chapter, that they're gonna be fellow heirs in the kingdom. So yeah, did you want me to finish that Yahshua 9, or are we going somewhere else?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let me see where we left off at. Yahshua the 9th chapter, and verse 7, it said, the men of Yashrael said unto the Hivites, peradventure you dwell among us. How shall we make a league with you? And again, that made me realize that these men had to been speaking a Canaanite dialect. They could not have been speaking something so off from who they were as Canaanites. But that's what the men said. Man, you peradventure you dwell among us. How are we gonna make a league with you? Oh, and there was something brought up on last Shabbat. I want to bring that up too. Something that we dealt with last Shabbat. That was a note that was interesting. Verse 8. And they said unto Yahshua, we are thy servants. Man, whoever masterminded this, boy, they was on a whole nother level. We are thy servants. And Yahshua said unto them, well, who are you? And from whence come ye? And they said unto him, from a very far country, thy servants are come because of the name of Yahuwah thy Elohim. And it don't even mention whether there was an interpreter to interpret them speaking. They're having a conversation, right? But they said, from a very far country, thy servants are come because of the name of YAH thy Elohim. That right there sealed the deal right there. So when Yahshua heard that, they couldn't even go nowhere else when they heard that. They say, for we have heard the fame of him and all that he did in Mizraim, and all that he did to the two kings of the Amorites that were beyond Jordan, to Sihon, king of Heshbon, and to Og, king of Bashan, which was at Ashtaroth. Wherefore our elders and all the inhabitants of our country spake to us, saying, take victuals with you for the journey, and go to meet them, and say unto them, we are your servants. Therefore now make a league with us. This our bread we took, hot for our provision, out of our houses on the day we came forth to go unto you. But now, behold, it is dry and it is moldy. And these bottles of wine which we fill were new, and behold, they be rent. And these our garments and our shoes are become old by reason of the very long journey. And the men took of their victuals and asked not counsel at the mouth of Yah. Wow. And Yahshua, and we doing a lesson on the marriage covenant, and on the morrow we doing part 2 of it. And I'm reminded of 2 things in reading this and this. We got into a little discussion, a heated discussion concerning Adam, how Eve gave him of the fruit of the tree of good and evil, and he did eat it, right? Because the serpent deceived Eve, and she in turn gave it to her husband, and he did eat. And I'm thinking of the fact of how Adam didn't feel the need to have to investigate what his wife gave him, because what he took came directly from her. And that's when he reminded, or he said to the father after he asked him, the woman that you gave me gave it to me, and I did eat. So in other words, he felt like he couldn't have thought that there was a means to investigate, because it came from her, which came from him. But then I'm also reminded, what was the other thing I was thinking of? It was something else I was thinking of. It was something else I was thinking about. I totally forgot the point when I brought that up. Oh yeah. The whole thing with Dinah and Shechem, right? When Hamor, the father of Shechem, came to Yaakov, they were supposed to have discussed what should have happened, because Shechem wanted to marry Dinah, but they had already laid together, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Hamor, instead of sticking with that subject at hand between these 2 individuals, he said, well, let's come together as a people. We will marry your sons and daughters, and you can marry our sons and daughters. So instead of him sticking with the task at hand of dealing with what they're going to do with Shechem and Dinah, he brought forth the idea of there being a covenant, just like what these Gibeonites said, make a league with us. And so Yaakov was like, y'all got to be circumcised. and then we would make the league with y'all. And then, so I gave a question and teaching the class, say, but what if Hamor and Shechem would have been like, and we will serve your Elohim? Would the outcome have been the same? That's just a hypothetical question. Because the Gibeonites, that's what they did. They like, for the name of YAH, we come, even though we know that they were doing it out of fear, right? But still, because they invoked the name of YAH, Yahshua was like, oh man, they come from a far country and they talking about YAH, and they talking about how they done heard about what YAH did for us in this battle and this battle. Like, it ain't nothing to investigate. It's like what we see in front of our eyes is enough for us to be convinced that YAH is not even going to let us turn these people down, because this is how it's supposed to be. People of other nations are supposed to join themselves to the people, but they deceive them. And I'm not going to read the rest of this, but the point, here's another point. The point is that when it was revealed, because as Israelites was traveling, they were 3 days away from the Gibeonites. And when they got there, they were like, man, wait a minute, y'all are these people right here. Why did y'all deceive us? And they're like, hey, you know, we fear for our lives because we had a death sentence upon us, you know. And because of the deception, they gave them one of the bottom rung jobs in the of the people, which were to be water bearers and wood bearers, right? You hear me?
Right. Yes.
So even then, they didn't say y'all are slaves in Israel, because before they got there was already somebody bearing the water as a job occupation and bearing the wood. But they say this is what your role gonna be. And they like, hey, good, hallelujah for that. We accept that, we appreciate that. So the point is that had them Gibeonites not been Canaanites, they would have been fellow heirs, fellow, citizens of Israel. They wouldn't have been limited to doing a menial job. They would have been able to do whatever they wanted to do and building up their livelihood right there among us. And just like what we already read it, right? We read Leviticus 19 chapter, that the stranger among you shall be as you are. You shall love that stranger among you. So Yahshua and them, they knew what the purpose of them being a people and them being a nation was. Matter of fact, Israelites don't even understand that there was never no time that Israelites was as a nation was limited to a bloodline Israelite. We were a mixed multitude from day one. But they don't.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Elihu, go ahead.
Yeah, I just kind of want to second what you're saying. Now, what I was thinking about is, to me, it seems so interesting, and I don't want to do any type ad hominem attack on the majority of a lot of these One West counts, but to me, it definitely is apparent that throughout the 5-6 generations of Hebrewisms amongst Afro-Americans, since we started kind of waking up in the late 1800s, what it seemed like to me is that psyop phenomenon really snuck in with being an adversary. Because if you have a certain doctrine that push this idea that One West push about only salvation to Israel, so on and so forth. It seemed innocent to the one that's pushing it, but on the grand scheme is operating like a Satan. It's operating like an adversary to what prophecy actually say. Now, I ain't see the fullness of the video, but I don't know if they hit Zechariah chapter 8. Zechariah chapter 8 is amongst the buku prophecy. First of all, before I talk about anything in the prophecy, I want to talk about in the Chumash, the first 5 books, from Genesis to Deuteronomy. Inside of the Torah, matter of fact, I know a lot of people don't subscribe to the Talmud, but I'm gonna use it as a reference point. The Talmud mentioned that the Torah mentioned the ger 36 times. The ger is the stranger, right? So it mentioned 36 times in the matter of fact. Let me just read. It say the Torah commands the care of the ger, the stranger or immigrant, at least 36 verses, a number cited in the Talmud as a testament to the importance of this commandment. So it's important, right? This repetition makes it one of the most frequently reiterated laws in the Torah, though the exact count can be higher depending on how verses are interpreted and counted. Again, a lot of Torah scholars understand that if something reoccurs in the Torah a lot and it's frequent, that is of importance. It's gadol, it's important. So this is one of those important topics that got to be touched on. Why? Because this is our job description. Real deal. Right. And again, that can be cited inside of the Talmud in Bava Messiah 59b. But check this out. What I was thinking about as you were speaking was Zechariah chapter 8. Now I saw, and I'm finna get ready to read it, but I saw.
And I think they read that. I think they did read Zechariah 8.
Okay, well, see, boom. And I think they read, I think I did get up to the point where I saw them talk about Isaiah 2, I believe.
Yeah. But go ahead with that Zechariah, though.
Indeed. So just like Isaiah 2, Micah chapter 4, Zechariah chapter 8, verse 20, it say, thus saith YAH, Sibaot, it shall yet come to pass that there shall come people and the inhabitants of many cities. And the inhabitants of one city shall go to another, saying, let us go speedily to pray before Yah and to seek Yah, Sibaot. I will go also. So people trying to come, they pulling up. Just like scripture say, this is your wisdom in the sight of the nations. Come on. It's attractive.
Yeah.
It's attractive. It's attractive, right? Now, it say, yea, many people and strong nations shall come to seek Yah, Sebaot in Jerusalem, and to pray before Yah. Verse 23, thus saith Yah, Sebaot, in those days it shall come to pass that 10 men, a minyan, 10 men shall take hold out of all languages of the nations, even shall take hold of the skirt of him that is a Yehudi, saying, we will go with you, for we have heard that Elohim is with you. And what you bringing out in Joshua 9, that's again typologically is that same thread, that thematic thread throughout the Torah, where people gonna be attracted to this light, and you can't turn them down because this your job description.
Right.
This is your job description to make sure that these people come through. Why? Because it's a principle what they call tikkun olam. Tikkun mean like rectification or healing in Hebrew. Olam mean the world. So it's like this whole thing that we doing is repairing the world in whatever sense we can imagine that may mean. And again, going back to Genesis, whenever the Genesis that we got, whenever it was written, a lot of people say that you got anachronisms that show that it was written in the 6th century BCE, coming from traditions that come from the 14th and 15th century BCE. But again, if it's written during that time frame, it was a response. It was responding to the time that was around, like in the Babylonian captivity, where we got heavy influence from Babylonians who were very highly intellectual gurus, and this is the culture of Babylonians and Chaldeans, highly spiritual people. But here you get people like Abraham, Avinu, our father Abraham, who coming up, who kind of challenging the norm. And then outside of him challenging the norm, we know he was a wealthy man. We can read throughout Genesis 15 all the way up to the 20s. A wealthy man, he attracting buku. You can see when he sent Eliezer out to go get Rivka for Yitzchak. Like, you know, he coming with 10 camels with buku men. So again, it's a culture that it could be very attractive when executed correctly. And it's supposed to be attractive. Why? Because we're trying to heal and rectify the world. This same world that was destroyed in Genesis. And now Adam is put here to rename the animals, to keep the garden and dress it. But again, yeah, I was definitely thinking about Zechariah 8 as you were speaking about the Gibeonites, because that's a clear example of what we see there. We see it is prophetic in the prophecies, and whoever speak contrary to this, they operating as a Satan, in my humble opinion, is trying to stop.
You know, and then also, speaking of which, we find that during the reign of David, man, that he had Canaanites all over his cabinet and council in terms of his right-hand man, you know?
Right.
Yeah, many of them were Canaanites.
Now, this, I want to add to what you just said, because this is the piece that when I read this years ago, I was like, wow. Go to Judges real quick. Judges 3, right? All right, Judges 3. And uh 3, 5, and 6. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm just trying to put this up. The children.
Hey, do me a favor. Start from the top there.
Start at 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Now these are the nations which YAH left to prove Israel by them, even as many of Israel as had not known the wars of Canaan. Only that the generations of the children of Israel might know to teach them war, at the least such as before knew nothing thereof.
No.
Namely 5 rulers of the Philistines, and all the Canaanites, and the Sidonians, and the Hivites that dwelt in Mount Lebanon, from Mount Baal Hermon unto the entering of Hamath. And they were to prove Israel by them, to know whether they would hearken unto the commandments of YAH, which he commanded their fathers by the hand of Shemaiah. And the children of Israel dwelt among the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. And they took their daughters to be their wives, and gave their daughters to their sons, and served their Elohim. That's heavy.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Because when you was mentioning about all the Canaanites that was in David's cabinet, you know, the thought came to my mind was it was like a family reunion. You know, when you had a family reunion, the cookout, you got the Canaanite clan, that in-laws and cousins to the Israelite clans.
Right.
So they became one people.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
One family intermerged because we were supposed to wipe them out, right?
Right.
So to your point, some of the people, even in this captivity, just might be from the father of the Canaanites.
Okay, come on, easily.
So we like you said, we believe in that. We DNA, blood DNA Israelite from Jacob. And the point you brought out by Caleb, we thought Caleb was an Israelite and Caleb was a Canaanite.
Right.
Woo! But he didn't get no less rights, just like you brought out. That's a powerful point you brought out.
Matter of fact, he got more.
Wait a minute.
That brother was royalty, man.
See, that changed the game because
Man.
To your boy Paul, he said, "Where's boasting now?"
Whoa, come on.
Who can boast and say, "I'm a bloodline Israelite"?
Yeah.
What does it matter? That's heavy, right?
Yeah.
So we can't make everybody be a DNA Israelite from the seed of Yaakov. Because you brought out in Exodus, we didn't read it, but you in Exodus, right? When he said the mix was a 12, the mixed multitude,
right,
came out. What verse is that? It was a mixed multitude. Is it 12 or 13? Might be 13. Mm. 12 and 38. It's 12 and 38. It says a mixed multitude went up also with them, and flocks, herds, even very much cattle. Mixed. Now, we don't see it in the biblical text, but we do know that Joseph's wife was a Mizraimite.
Right.
So how do we not know whether or not do we know who Joseph's two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, do we know who their wives was?
Yeah, I'm sure we can read it, but yeah, but that's a good point though.
How do we not know that they didn't marry Egyptian wives?
Yeah. But there were Mizraimites in the land because you got the story of the Mizraimite that was married to the woman, and they call her an Israelitish woman. She was from the tribe of Dan. And they had a son, which would make him Egyptian, ethnic wise, and he blasphemed YAH. Right? He blaspheming YAH because he like, man, I come from a powerful people. And y'all got lucky and y'all beat them, but now I'm out here in this desert with y'all, and who is this YAH? You know, we had great gods. I'm just kind of put words in his mouth, but that's what he did. He felt that it was so natural for him to lift up the great kingdom of Mizraim compared to where he was in the desert among these people that were slaves. And that caused him to blaspheme YAH. So I'm just saying that that's what he was. He was a Mizraimite.
Right.
And the elders didn't know what to do with him. They put him in war, right? Because they didn't know what to do with him because he was a Mizraimite. And the father was like, hey, stone him. There's one law for all. Ain't no different law for the stranger as the Israelite. It's one law. Take him out.
I read somewhere that one of the prophets was an Ethiopian.
You're talking about, is it Jeremiah? Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Is it Jeremiah? Yeah. It's when it talks about him, I think it uses the term Cushi,
right,
as being his father. I think, if I'm not mistaken, you're either talking about Jeremiah or Zechariah. It's either one or the other.
Right.
I think Zephaniah actually.
Was Zephaniah? Right. Where's that, Elihu? Where's that at?
Let me see. Oh, let's see. Oh, yeah, Zephaniah, the first chapter, first verse. That's where that come from.
Zephaniah, the first chapter, and verse 1.
Uh-huh.
The word of YAH which came to Zephaniah, the son of Cushi. Look, as they always say, you can't make this up, man.
Yeah.
We got a lot of explaining to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because we can't make this be a bloodline Israelite thing only.
Uh-huh.
When we see that we had prophets, and thank you for bringing that out, Elihu.
But I think that was just his name. No, I don't think that was because he's Ethiopian, because we see the genealogy of him coming out of Israelites.
Like Cushi?
Yeah.
So
see?
you said so Cushi doesn't mean that he was Ethiopian?
No, not here, because it said the son of Cushi, the son of Gedaliah, the son of Amariah, the son of Hezekiah. And so these were Israelites.
Okay.
But that's what somebody did. They isolated that term Cushi, and they connected him with Israelites because of that word. But Cushi has a meaning, right? Ain't it a way to describe the blackness?
Yeah, right.
By definition.
Right.
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting.
So I'm pretty sure he probably wasn't Ethiopian, because the book of Amos let us know that the prophets are Israelites.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's food for thought, though.
It is food for thought. Hey, let me read something here, though, going back to the Caleb thing.
Okay. Where you at?
I'm in Yeshua, the 15th chapter.
Okay, 15.
And verse 13.
Okay, 15 and 13. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm there.
And unto Caleb, the son of Yefuneh, he gave a part among the children of Yahudah, according to the commandment of Yahuwah to Yahshua, even the city of Arba, the father of Anak, which city is Hebron. You see how that it reads to let you know that he wasn't of Yahudah. Because why would it say it like that? It says, and Caleb drove this, the three sons of Anak, Shishah, Ahiman, and Talmah, the children of Anak. And hold on, I'm going down, I'm going to skip down. Verse 18, and it came to pass as she came unto him that she moved him the ass of her father field, and she lighted off her ass, and Caleb said unto her, what wouldest thou? Who answered, give me a blessing, for thou hast given me a southland. Give me also springs of water. And he gave her the upper spring and another spring. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Yahudah according to their families. But when it said that he gave him of in that 13th verse, and unto Caleb the son of Jephunneh, he gave a part among the children of Yahudah. Because that's where because remember, he the one that represented Yahudah.
Right.
But he wasn't ethnic Yahudah.
Huh. So how do you explain Hold on a second.
Yeah. I was finna ask a similar question. How do you explain something?
How do you explain Numbers 13:6? That says he was of the tribe of Yehuda.
He was of the.
So how is he of the tribe of Yehuda?
Okay, let me see. You say 13:6?
Yeah, 13:6. Numbers 13:6.
All the inhabitants of the hill country from Lebanon. Wait, hold on 1 second. Unto Mizraim and all the Sidonians. Then will I drive by.
No. Are you in Numbers?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm in Joshua. Because I just read something else in Joshua too. But Joshua, Numbers 13:6. Right. That is the right. He was chosen to represent Yahudah. Right. Oh yeah. No, that's how we know. That's how we know.
But somebody would debate on it. They would say, well, it says he was of the tribe of Yehuda. So how do you explain how he was of the tribe of Yehuda?
That to me, it only means that that's where he dwelt. He dwelt among Yahudah. You know, just like how we read in Ezekiel that in whatever tribe the stranger is in, he will get an inheritance among the tribe. Okay. So this to me means that was where he dwelt at. He was a citizen of Yahudah. And he was given to represent Yahudah. Yeah, this where we was first, if I'm not mistaken, we were first introduced to him right here in this passage.
Well, then, okay, so on that note, then, so the Jews can say, well, I'm a Jew. And would they be incorrect in saying that?
Will who be incorrect in saying that?
The 1948ers.
Well, here's the thing with that. As Israelites, we're used to saying that the term Jew was derived from the Judah, Yahudah, which is correct. But throughout the whole Bible, at least half the times we see the term Jew, almost half the time, it's not referring to bloodline Yahudah, but it's referring to one who serves Yah. That could probably be of a whole nother people, just like then in the Acts the 2nd chapter. There dwelling in Jerusalem were Jews or Yahudi from all nations or whatever. All of them, that wasn't the tribe of Yahudah is talking about when it says Yahudah that came together in Jerusalem. How we know that? Because you're like, as an example, Esther the 8th chapter tell you that many in that day became what? Yahudah. Yahudi. That wasn't, it ain't no a tribal Yahudah that became Yahudi. It was people of other ethnics that joined themselves to Yahudah.
So I'm trying to think for what other people are thinking. Okay. All right. So the name Yahudah means Yah be praised, right?
Yep. Now will I praise Yah.
So anybody could be a follower of being a person who praises Yah. That would make them a Yahudim, right?
Okay, real quickly, and don't miss your point, but when it was two nations and we go into the New Testament, we know that I think that the term that we started pronouncing is Judea, right? Or Judea.
Right.
But that was also a definition of anybody that was a citizen of Judea, whether or not you was Edom or whether you was whatever. If you was a citizen or a dweller in Judea, you was called a Yahudi or a Jew. So that formed a whole nother definition of Jew or Yahuda. Shoot, Herod, he was king of Yahudea.
Well, now what came to my mind was your boy Paul, right? Controversial Shaul. Okay, Philippians 3:3 is where he says, for Philippians 3 and 1, right? Let me bring it up on the screen. Okay. He says, finally, my brother, rejoice in Yah. To write the same things to you, to me, indeed, is not grievous, but for you it's safe. Beware of dogs, beware of evildoers, beware of concision, for we are the circumcision, which worship Yah in spirit and rejoice in Yahshua the Messiah, and have no confidence in the flesh. Right? So is he right in saying that? Because reason why I'm bringing it out, because Christians would jump on that real quick and say, "Oh, it doesn't matter whether you're Israelite or not." What would you say to that?
Well, we know that Paul literally had issues with RP. Now, and you read that, and I immediately thought about Colossians, the 2nd chapter, where he gives a similar warning to the Colossians, similar warning. Colossians 2nd chapter, after he says, what he says that?
Wait a minute.
Right after he says, let no man judge you. Oh, 2nd chapter, I'm sorry. Right after he said, let no man judge you. That's the 16th verse.
Was that 1 and 16?
Okay, let me see. I'm trying to say where he said something after that. When he said, beware of the concision, I think he said that in this chapter too, which are shadow things. Let no man beguile you of your reward, which and not holding. I thought he said something about the concision, like beware.
Oh, that's verse 2. That's Philippians 2:3. Okay. That was what I just read. Beware of those and beware of evildoers, beware of concision. But you said Colossians.
Yeah, I thought he said that right after he says, let no man that which are a shadow, let no man beguile you of your reward. Oh man. I thought he said something about, hold up. Maybe that was for Philippians, but I thought it was Colossians that I had read that. Hold up 1 second.
Are you talking about Colossians 3 and 11, where he said there's neither Jew nor Greek?
Let me see.
He said a whole lot of that.
But you know what? That I guess that was that Philippians. I had thought that was Colossians when he said that. But yeah, that must have been that Philippians thing. I thought it was Colossians when he said.
How about this one here? How about this one? Romans 2:28. How about Elihu? What you think about this one here? Romans 2. Romans 2:28.
Oh yeah, bring it on out, Cohen.
Okay, Romans 2. Let me bring it on the screen.
I'm gonna tell you automatically that this one of them passages where you got to put the question mark on.
Wait. So he said, therefore, if the uncircumcision keep the righteousness of the law, shall not his uncircumcision be counted for circumcision?
No, Paul. No. 0. Where would you get that from? Hey, Shemaiah not circumcised his son. All the righteousness he didn't count for him, his son being uncircumcised.
Right.
His wife had to save his life. Hey, ain't that what it says though? So how can this be any different?
Right. Hey, so it's kind of like, people follow the teachings of Paul over Torah.
Right.
And Paul, if this is in fact the Paul, historical Paul, or if this is or is this an actual European creation of a European version of a Hebrew Israelite who was raised in Rome? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm kind of questionable about that right now.
I just want to say that right there, that could be fuel to put in the vessel of colonialism, man. Like those could really be some colonizer words. Is it almost essentially saying that somebody from an outside, somebody who probably not from Metro Atlanta, a black person coming to a real black person in Metro Atlanta saying, "You're not who you really is. I'm that," and that person never don't know nothing about the culture. But I'm saying, just saying that to a people that got a culture that they hold on to, that's tied to like they ethnicity, is tied to their faith, and you saying something like that, kind of like a slap in the face to them, is very, very colonizer type.
Yeah.
Supersessionism. That's really what it is. Replacement theology. Like that's the start of it.
Yeah. So basically, I'm glad you bringing out these posts, man, because that was two things from my observation of a technique that Paul did to attract these Europeans. He always seemed like he found a way to put down ethnic Israel in the face of these Europeans. He always found a way to do that, but at the same time, he would definitely, promote himself like, "Hey, I'm the original, okay? I'm the original. I'm of the seed of Abraham, circumcised 8 days old. So I have that right to magnify the wickedness of my own people."
But let me ask you a question.
You can't call them nigga, but I can.
Let me ask you a question. We know he said that, but is there a record where he can prove that he was circumcised the 8th day, like he said? Other than his words?
But according to him, he was of the Pharisees. He was part of the Pharisaic sect.
Well, he could have been a implant, because remember when Yahshua met the woman at the well, who was a Samaritan,
right?
And she said, "Our fathers."
Right.
She was convinced that she was an Israelite.
Right. Absolutely.
So is it possible that Saul was misinformed? Maybe he believed he was Israelite. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he wasn't Edomite.
That sounds like that sounds like he just called your name, Elihu. No, Elihu, he know what I'm talking about. Because that was absolutely a question concerning that, regarding that. That's what you brought out, Elihu.
Yeah, indeed.
The whole thing with Herod, right? Herod.
Yeah, for sure. I guess what I was bringing out is the possible or the speculation about Paul being definitely that Edomite, you know, saluting Herod, his kinsman, Herod's father, Antipater, you know what I mean? Antipater, who saved Julius Caesar in war. And so, because you know, when the Romans was coming up, they was inspired by the Greeks and the the Macedonians. They was inspired by the come up story of Greece. And so now they trying to control and extend their territory in Rome, but they needed the help of like certain people and allies. The Idumeans or the Edomites was definitely those allies for the Romans. And one of those people, Herod's father, Antipater, was a major warrior in this Edomite Roman allyship. And so here we go. Now. Julius Caesar then supposedly giving or granting Roman citizenship to all of Antipater's descendants and family members and giving them benefits. And so we see the protection of certain people in Judea of the Herodian Antipater family getting protected when things get weird by Roman soldiers and able to go to and fro, showing their citizenship in Rome, like, hey, y'all, I'm still a Roman. You know what I'm saying? So it's this book called Operation Messiah that kind of really hit on the point that, you know, somebody like Paul who frequently saluted people like Bernice, frequently saluted people like Epaphroditus, who was the secretary of Nero. Like, what is his cahoots with political powers in Rome like this? And boom, his connection to the Idumeans. So it almost as if, and I'm not definitively saying I don't think nobody can, but it looked like he was definitely sent in as a COINTELPRO of his day. Of his day.
But you know, but like you say, what we can read, the problem is that most of us don't know the history, because everybody know that Paul was a Roman citizen. We just don't know how he became a Roman citizen, but he was clearly a Roman citizen, and he clearly taught all of these Gentiles that he had a doctrine where he kind of like I say, he talked about us as a people, and he didn't give us positive he didn't give a positive image of us to the Gentiles, and that the Yahshua or Jesus, I ain't gonna say Jesus, Yahshua, because the name didn't exist. The Yahshua that he taught these Gentiles was that that we not really dealing with the ethnic thing no more through the blood of Yahshua. So, you know, he kind of taught that as a doctrine, you know, and even to the point of him, you know, like we know, disrespecting the three pillars.
Right.
You know, that right there is so glaring, man, to disrespect the people that literally learn at the feet of a person that you are deifying, that you never even met. You know, it's easy. What we do know is that we can easily see the agenda that Paul had as far as being a quote unquote apostle to the Gentiles.
Right. You know what comes to my mind too about Paul too is, okay, Yahshua, after he resurrected, he was around the earth, what, 40 days, right?
Right.
So Paul had a vision. So was that a vision after the Messiah was taken up? It had to be,
yeah,
right?
after he was taken up, absolutely.
So did Yahshua come back?
Right.
To appear to him?
Right. Which cannot fit into the narrative. Right.
So that's suspect because they Christian them, everybody have all these visitations of Jesus.
Yeah.
Just like you with Joshua. Jesus appeared to him in his room and told him the rapture was going to be on September 23rd.
Right.
How do we know who validated Paul? How do we know that Paul actually he had these visions that he's seen?
Yeah.
Right. So did Yahshua make a secret appearance to him?
Right.
That's
well, I always thought it was suspect that Yahshua would not tell him to go learn at the feet of Peter and John and James. Why wouldn't he have sent them to them? They were still alive during that time. And throughout his entire time, he spent trying to justify himself to the three pillars, but then he dissed the three pillars at the same time. It's like he dealt one way with the Gentiles, and then he dealt a whole different way when he came among Israel. That's clear. That's too clear.
Yeah.
And
the thing is that he didn't teach what Yahshua taught.
That right there is point one. I ask any apologist or whatever, show me where he literally taught the same thing that Yahshua taught. And you can't show me that.
So
matter of fact, the scriptures say out of 2 or 3 witnesses, let everything be established. You can't give me 2 or 3 witnesses when you're reading Paul. You can't give me another witness of nothing that he says that's contrary to what we know, like you say, what Yahshua taught.
Right. And if Paul knew the law like he says he knew the law, he would know that out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses shall every truth be established. He would know that. So why is there no other validation from anybody else validating anything that Paul said? Nobody anywhere of the apostles say the same thing that Paul. Matter of fact, Yaakov rebuked him. Subliminally.
Right.
Faith without works is dead.
Yeah.
I don't know. No, go ahead.
No, let's say he said, but thou, O vain man. I like what he called him, that vain man. And we read that, we act like we ain't supposed to know who he's talking about. But he's quoting Paul word for word. He's quoting him. You can't get around that. And it's like James was offended that he's gonna even use Abraham. That you even speak the name Abraham out of your mouth in that context. It's like James was highly upset by that. Like, you got a lot of nerve. Go ahead, Elihu.
No, I was just thinking, I would say, like, would it be safe to say that Paul or maybe his followers had, like, real deal officially moved away from any Judaic or Hebraic frame of thought or thinking? Because it's just like ever since the 2nd and 3rd century BCE, a lot of people started to opt into choosing Hellenistic practices. But the more I think about it, I think I understand why it's so delicious in people's mouth and so attractive. Like, it's you don't really have any limitations to what your mind could do. And I think it really tickled humankind's fancy to think on things that's really like outside of whatever they realm is. So basically what I'm saying, what we see in Greek philosophy, when you got all of these high aristocratic upper echelon philosophers Socrates and Plato's come about, like this is a lot more attractive than sitting around reading books. You know what I mean? Using ontology and epistemology. So I feel as if maybe Paul and his followers, who I personally believe had became those Gnostic communities that you see in Egypt. I don't know if anybody ever read some of those Gnostics texts, like the Nag Hammadi scrolls. Like some of that stuff, it could make somebody's head spin because it's so doggone thought-provoking and philosophical.
Right.
I feel like a lot of people, they be looking into that stuff, like they move away from what the actual goal of doing life is. You know what I mean? Because you so wrapped up in mysticism, you wrapped up in spookisms. You know what I mean? And so, and I hate to use that word spooky in such a bad, in like a negative connotation. But what I'm saying, when you do get to some of those letters, and then some other certain things that you may see in the New Testament as well, it get very, 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 very like that. That Gnostic type spookisms and stuff like that. So my theory is that Paul and his followers probably definitely moved away and was turned off at some point. It seemed as if in his early career, he wanted to reason a little bit with some of the part of the circumcision and the Pharisee groups like that Yaakov Hasidic belonged to. But eventually, as time progressed, you follow the timeline, he had enough falling out with people. Barnabas, John, James had enough falling out with people that he like, well, I'm just drop all this. Man, I'm going all the way Gnostic, all the way Hellenistic, whatever it may be, really philosophical to increase his penmanship or whatever he may have been doing. But
yeah, well, like I always say, I think that the seed was planted through his affiliation with that sect of Pharisees that were wicked. Because the Pharisees were just like how we are here among the different Israelite groups. So just like we would say one West, and then you would say among the Pharisees, these Pharisees right here, you don't want to mess with them because they'll kill you. And that's the sect that apparently Paul was a part of. But then for whatever reason, if we accept the story of the road to Damascus or whatever reason, he was split from these brothers, but these brothers gave him a very negative connotation with Hebrews. I think that was the beginning of his break from Hebrews. And then he like, well, I'm a Roman citizen. I speak the language. So it just fit that I should be going unto the Gentiles to preach whatever doctrine. And among them Gentiles, he absolutely taught Yahshua as an idol. As an idol. Because explain to me, how are you going to be lifting up the name of Yahshua over and over again, but you're not even teaching what he taught? So you gave the Gentiles something that,
another gospel.
Another gospel, a whole nother deity, in fact, that they were used to worshiping pretty much. You gave it to them in their style, in their flavor, and what they're used to. And that is the reason why, Moreh, that when that Jeremiah 2:11 hit me, man, that is a standard. Because you have to know Jeremiah 2:11 to be able to discern what is of YAH and what's not of YAH.
Excellent.
And along with that Jeremiah 2:11 is Psalm, I think that's Psalm 95 or 97. He says all the gods of the nations are idols.
Mm-hmm.
Man, when you allow that, man, to me, man, I Jeremiah 2:11 changed my life, bro. That changed my whole understanding.
But that's what my lesson be about tomorrow. The God that had many names.
The
God that had many names, that has many names.
Right.
Because we know that the Most High said, "This is my name forever."
Yeah, see, right. The Gentiles don't know that. That ain't what they were taught.
Right. Now back to Paul. Something came to my mind when you was talking. Paul was a very educated man, right?
Absolutely.
So he knew the Greek and the Greco-Roman history, right?
Right.
So did he not know about the Maccabean period when the Greeks came in there and brought Zeus worship in the temple? So did he merge all of that with his suppose Hebraic experience?
Right.
And fixed it up, dressed it up like you said, so that they can receive it.
Right.
Because the thing that comes to my mind too is this. Okay, if Jesus is supposed to be a transliteration of, then how is it that Jesus is the same in every language?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
You know, the Chinese people don't have a different name for him. They call him Jesus.
Yeah.
So why is it that if Jesus is supposed to be a transliteration, why is it that every nation don't use a transliteration from Jesus? So that in itself is suspect, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you and I both believe that Jesus is Zeus.
Now, we don't believe it. We don't believe it. Like I say, Jeremiah 2:11, that Psalms is so clear. It's so clear that only a fool could err. The Gentiles, at what? Even Paul in his own words in 1 Corinthians 10th chapter. The things with the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to idols. That ain't never stopped. So yeah, I don't use that term believe, man. I know for a fact.
So even down to the point where some of them, what do they call Paul Mercury?
Right.
And his road dog, Jupiter.
Barnabas. Yeah, Barnabas, Jupiter, yep.
So that ought to make somebody think, why was that there?
Well, and not only that, but let's look at that from historical dynamic. Where were they at when that happened? What was they in Athens? Where was that they at? Where were they at?
I think so. Let me see.
Check this out. Let me see. Where are they at?
Acts 14.
Acts 14, right.
14:12.
Okay. So let's see.
They were in Iconium. Where's Iconium at?
Okay, let's see. Let's see where that's at. Okay, so that's in Turkey.
Turkey.
So that's Asia.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out if where they were mostly Roman influence or was it Greek influence? That's what I was trying to figure out.
But that was the turning point. So,
yeah.
Technical standpoint, it was a Greek peninsula.
Okay.
Because they had overran the Hittites.
Okay.
And took over that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Later on became the Byzantine or Byzantine Empire. Greek Orthodox.
See, so the reason why I'm asking that, and like I said, I don't know, but the reason why I'm asking that is that I thought that was interesting that they used Jupiter as opposed to Zeus.
Right.
Because we know they're the same. It's
Right.
just a matter of the language.
Jupiter is the Roman equivalent to Zeus.
Right. Right. Right.
The sky deity, Peter. The sky father.
Right. Right. Uh-huh. So that's something that I was wondering, you know, why would they say Jupiter as opposed to Zeus there?
It means
because
the
in
same
the
thing. It means the same thing.
Yeah, it means the same thing, but in terms of the
just like Jesus means the same thing.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
He's the sky father.
Uh-huh.
Christians call him the sky father.
Right.
They don't use that terminology, but that's what that name Jesus means, the sky
right.
father.
Uh-huh.
Jesus.
Right. So just like when we get into the Greek so-called transliteration in Luke, the 4th chapter, I believe, in the 27th verse, when it transliterates Elisha as Eli-Zeus.
Right.
But they, in the King James Version, they put the Z out and replaced it with an S. No, where that come from?
Look, I want to read this in Acts 14, the next verse. It talks about Jupiter, right? So
okay.
In Acts 14:12, he says, let me just read up a little bit first. So it said, and there sat a certain man of Lystra. Where's Lystra at? Impotent in his feet, being crippled from his mother's womb, who never walked. The same Paul, this is what Christians do. They follow this whole methodology. The same heard Paul speak, who steadfastly, I've thought about Benny Hinn when I read this part right here. The same heard Paul speak, who steadfastly beholding him and perceived that he had faith to be healed, said with a loud voice, stand upright on thy feet. And he leaped and walked. And when the people saw what Paul had done, they lifted up their voices, saying in the speech of Lycaonia, the gods are come down to us in the likeness of men. Why would they say that? And they called Barnabas Jupiter, Paul Mercury, or Mercius, because he was the chief speaker. Then the priest of Jupiter, which was before their city, brought oxen, garlands into the gates, and would have done sacrifice with the people. Which when the apostle Barnabas and Paul heard of it, they rent their clothes and ran among the people, crying out, saying, Sir, why do ye these things? We are men like passions with you, and preach unto you that you should turn from these vanities unto the living Elohim, which have made heaven and earth, the sea, and all things that are therein. Who in time past suffered all nations to walk in their own ways. Okay. So why would they call him Jupiter and Paul Mercury? What did they see in them that gave them the appearance of the Greek deities? Or the Roman
well, they
deities?
gave them that according to the miracle that they did.
But did Jupiter and Mercury do any miracles?
Well, I'm sure that in legend they did something that would portray them as deities.
Yeah. I think it had something to do with the doctrine. They could relate to what he was preaching. Because like we both agree, Paul had a whole different message. He had a different message from anybody in the book.
Right. Right.
So what was it about what he preached that made them feel attracted to him? That's my question.
I don't think it was nothing about what he preached. I think it was about what they beheld, what they saw as the miracle. Because the thing is that just like in our names, like starting with Egypt, when Joseph did what he did there in Egypt, they didn't even allow him to keep his name. They attached the Mizraimite deity to his name and removed the YAH aspect of his name. So these Gentiles did the exact same thing. They didn't even bother to ask these brothers what y'all name is. We're going to automatically give credit to who we worship.
Right. We need to do a whole series on Paul.
Oh, we already did. Me and Elihu, we already did.
Yeah.
Man, did you ever watch it?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, a part two.
I'm sure there's a lot more we could probably get out of that. Absolutely.
Like we can kind of like come together and tag team, do like a amplified version of it.
Yeah.
Because it's like when we listen to a lot of the Hebrew Israelite, a lot of them got Paul's culture and practices.
Right.
You know, I remember years ago, Moreh that we both know, I'm not gonna mention his name. And he was telling the sisters that they had to have their heads covered. And I said, where's that at in Torah?
Right.
And he said, brother, he said, you know what? You're absolutely right. He said, we just teach that as a cultural thing. It's not part of Torah. I said, oh, I didn't just say that.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about. I ain't gonna say no name.
I'm gonna assume they come out of IOG.
No.
No.
He's in Ghana now. We used to bump heads a lot.
Yeah. Say less. Say less.
So I'm gonna let you close out with your closing remarks. We got 12 people still in the room. So those people that came in here wanted us to. We actually was going to play more of the commentary, but it's a 3-hour video. We don't have the time to play the whole 3-hour video. But
yeah, you know what, man, if I'd have known that you were gonna play it, man, I'd have watched it again and pinpointed specific things. I wish I'd have done it, but I didn't get a chance to do that. But those of you that's in the room, I want to know, did you guys watch the video, and was there anything that you guys may wanted to bring out? Elihu, what your channel is? What's the name of your channel now?
YAH Elihu TV.
YAH Elihu TV, right? So Light of the Gentiles asked if you had a channel, so it's YAH Elihu TV. That's his channel.
YAH Elihu on all social medias too.
Yeah.
I did want to say this, that from watching the initial video, which is what I was trying to show on the screen, but they got this commercial popped up. But the brothers use scriptural references that Gorilla Hebrew, Alisar, Sakari, ex-Sakari. I guess he don't have a camp anymore, right? Does he still not have the camp?
Who?
Guerrilla Hebrew.
Who? Oh, no, he don't. You know what?
Is Sakari Camp still going?
Yeah, Sakari Camp is still going. I don't know who heads to Sakari Camp, but it had came out, and maybe Ellie, who probably know a little bit more about this than me, but I believe that it had came out concerning Gorilla that he's actually a Gentile.
Yeah. Oh, Ellie, who you there?
Yeah, I heard what he say. You know what? I can't even validate that because I don't know if this is good or bad, but I be so cringed out by the Hebrew Israelite community that I turn my face and ears from it. If that's so, that had brought me to a question that I was gonna ask Kohan, the mighty Kohan Chazaq. You know, it was something you were saying that had brought this to mind. But I had asked one of my One West partners this. But if you ever found out that you was not Israel, would that change your position and your approach to the Torah? And somebody actually told me that yes, they wouldn't be keeping none of the culture because if they found out that they was Israel. Well, shoot, I said unapologetically, me personally, that ain't what I'm standing on. I ain't standing on identity. Matter of fact, in Ezekiel chapter 20, Ezekiel chapter 22, Yah came to Ezekiel while the elders was inquiring. The Zakonim was inquiring to Ezekiel, but he was like, hey, basically caused them to know the abominations of their forefathers.
Yeah.
Like, me personally, this is just my axiom, right? My axiology is that whatever this phenomenon we see in Bereshit and Genesis, that's what I'm standing on. Whatever this phenomenon, because these core principles ain't exclusive to Israel. They predate Israel. These are constants, like astrophysics, they call constants. What we call law is called constant. Now we got people that think that, you know, we say we break the law. Yeah, well, I believe you can't break the law. You break yourself against the law. The law ain't going nowhere. You see what I'm saying? So again, it's like I was asking the brother, it's like, so what you really standing on? Like you ain't really doing this for the love of the principles and the moral compass that come with this. It's really
right. That's right.
for you. It's so sad to me. Sometimes you think about it too hard, it might make you emotional. But I understand where a lot of them brothers coming from. Afro Americans, bro, we be trying to grab for anything, man. I grew up as a younger man in my teenage years, getting mentorship from the people of the Nation of Islam, the New Wapian Nation, the Moreh Science Temple. Basically, what I'm trying to say is me looking at it when I was younger, I'm seeing all these different avenues of Afro consciousness you can go to. And I started to realize, I say, you know what? All of Black Americans, foundation of Black Americans, they just have an identity crisis and they trying to grab for something. Yeah. We always trying to grab from something that, and then you either do it through gangs, you'll do it through the Masons, you'll go to the Divine Nine, you become a Greek or something like that. Right. It's all in the name of trying to identify with something because you want to feel accepted in some slight way, and you want to figure out what your origin story that you can carry on with. But again, it going back to, I think it's all about changing your axiology. Are we doing this for identity, or are we doing this to be able to pull and extract the moral compass that come with the Torah? So again, even if I found out tomorrow that I went bloodline Israel, that don't pull no rule for under my feet, Pimp Jew. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. I'm gonna land my plane now.
Well, and see, the thing is, what you're saying there, it don't come from what you said there. It don't come from an opinion. It comes from knowledge and understanding. If you don't have the knowledge and understanding, know the history that we're dealing with, then you're stuck with dealing with a man's philosophy, which is basically all of One West. They come from this bad foundation that they can't shake. I'm reminded of in this lesson, the deacon, he has the or the priest, he had said something kind of an error. If you remember this, Chazaq, what he said, he was talking about the term enemies and adversaries.
Right.
And he was right about that, but then he made a hypothetical that was incorrect. He said, how can they be enemies and they're in our land? And I'm like, brother, that don't make sense.
Right.
Because throughout the scriptures, he letting us know that the enemies are gonna be in our land.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I knew what he was trying to say, but this is the hypothetical that he said, which made absolutely no sense. Throughout the scriptures, Deuteronomy 28, the foundation of Deuteronomy 28 is your enemies being in your land. So I don't even know where he got that from. But a better thing that he should have asked is, why did the Father bring us into the land of the enemy to serve the enemy?
Right.
To me, that's better, because the thing is that I maintain that our original purpose was to be a blessing to all nations, and
Right.
here we are. But we were supposed to be the head, being a blessing of all nations, but instead we're the tail, being a blessing to all nations. So we are quick to, just like what Elihu was talking about, we love the doctrine of being able to diss our oppressor. Uh-oh. Hold up. My phone is shut down. Hold on.
Oh, yeah, you freezing, I see. Yeah. Oh, man, you froze right in the middle of a point. Man, he was on a roll. But let me just kind of talk until he come back. Elihu, what you said, before I knew I was an Israelite, this is my testimony, right? I knew that I was a descendant of a people that made a covenant with the Most High, whether my physical blood DNA was connected to Jacob or not. Because as we talked about the stranger that came into the covenant, the mixed multitude, everybody is not necessarily a physical descendant of Jacob. But in marrying into that covenant, we inherited the judgment. And so I started questioning in my mind, saying, why do people hate us so much? And then when I started reading about what I don't know if you was listening, when Moreh Josiah talking about our enemies living in our land. And I said, the people that have oppressed us are not our friends. So what is it about us that they are so fearful of, that they hate us so much that they would like to see us wiped off the face of the earth, but we still here? How is it that we are a people that have gone through history like nobody else is going through, and we still exist? That in itself made me think, what is the Most High trying to get to us, right? And when you look at our communities, we have a lot of our young men being raised by single moms, the fathers not being in the children's lives. And we go through all the prophecies and see all these things. I say, man, if that ain't us, then I don't know who it is, right? All these prophecies that we see, whether we are physical DNA or not, is the fact that we married into this covenant. We are descendants of those people that married into this covenant. And for that reason, we inherited these judgments that we can't shake off of us. And when that's set in my spirit, because my first approach was, why don't we keep the Shabbat, the seventh day, instead of first? That was the first thought in my mind. I used to ask questions. But the Bible says, remember the seventh day. I was a kid. Why are we worshiping on the first day of the week? And everybody was telling me, well, the church changed the Sabbath to the first day. I'm like, well, but the Bible says he changed not. So who gave them the thought? I would ask these questions as a young man. Who gave them the authority to change these things that the Most High said is not going to be changed? So I was having some major problems. And I'm the son of a pastor. I got ordained in the Church of God in Christ, and I was asking the same question. And I said, you know what? I became a pastor. I said, I'm changing. We're going to go to Saturday worship service. Because I was like, I'm reading this right here, and I'm seeing we practicing, right? So it was shortly after that when I started doing a lot of fasting, right? And then that's when the Most High revealed to me in an audible voice that you're an Israelite. Now, you could be an Israelite, DNA Israelite, or you could be a national Israelite. So when we married into the covenant, whether we were actually from Canaan or from Mizraim or from Cush or one of the other nations, we became a part of the Israelite nation. So it is, in fact, legit for us to say we are Israelites, even if we're not from Jacob, because we're part of that. We married into that nation. So we have some DNA, and whether it's on the paternal side or whether it's on the maternal side. As we was talking about earlier, the Canaanites married the Israelite daughters, and the Canaanite sons married, the Israelite sons married the Canaanite daughters. So we became a family, a united family. So, but the point that really brings out to me, you asked the question, if I found out that I was not an Israelite, I couldn't see how I could not be of that nation, knowing the prophecies that I know. There's no other way I could. There's no other people that I could be. I couldn't be from Yafeth because the riches of the Gentiles, I don't have that. I don't have a nation I can go back to and say, this is the nation I'm from. And I did my ancestral DNA, and I got way more African ancestors than I have European ancestors. So I can't go that route and say, oh, well, I'm 9% Irish. So we come from there. There's more of a merging with the Israelite, the Shemitic people, with Hamitic people than with Japhetic people. But even if I did Josiah come back in? His battery died. Even if for some strange reason it came out that I'm not an Israelite, to your point, the way that the Most High gave us to live, if we follow that path, we'll be successful. One of the best passages that I've been sharing with people is where he said in Proverbs, train up a child in the way he should go. And when he grows old, he will not depart from it. The next verse says, the rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is a servant to the lender. That's a principle that you can be a multimillionaire in the covenant in this time. If we make that application right now, you like me, you're a truck driver. Man, if I know what I knew now, I'm not saying it because I'm not materialistic, but I'd be filthy rich right now because I would have made different decisions. The Torah instructs us how to be successful as an individual. We may not be successful as a nation, But as an individual, just like we look at Joseph, how he was blessed when he was in Mizraim, right? So even if I was not a physical DNA Israelite, the principles, to your point, of Torah is the way of life. And I would follow that way of life to be successful in every aspect, physically, healthy wise, right? Man, I did some dumb things, man. I'm bald headed now because I used to wear Jerry curls. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just dumb things, you know what I'm saying? Eating caramel popcorn, and I popped all my teeth out from eating that stuff. A lot of stuff, learning experience. I learned, but I had to learn from my own mistakes, and it cost a lot.
That's the beautiful thing about the scripture too, though. So you in your lifetime and your experiences had to learn a lot from yourself. You know the old saying, smart man learn from his mistake, but a wise man learn from other people's mistake, right? Looking at the book of Judges, you see Samuel, according to tradition, Samuel scribed the book of Judges. And he did it in a way that to show the people, this is your results. If you do this, this is your results. If you do that, we saw the results of when we did what we want to do. Every man thinking on his own, or he moving on his own whim. No guidelines, no framework. You just doing whatever you want to do. Do what thou wilt, like Aleister Crowley said. Do what thou wilt will get you killed at the same time. But whole time you get these different lists of what you can do and what you can't do. And if you do this your outcome. You do that, that's your outcome. So whole time, I think the beauty in Tanakh, though, we get to see objectively what our nation had done wrong and done right in the same breath. And you don't see it nowhere else amongst societies in the world. Ancient Egypt always told great things about their kings, wars that they won, and so on and so forth. Ancient Sumeria, you see the same thing through the Sumerian kings list. You see the beautiful story of all the kings, how beautiful and gorgeous where they was and how much wealth they had. But the Tanakh, the Torah, gonna give you a perspective that's gonna be very objective, rather subjective. And it's gonna tell you the good and the bad. And so I think that's beautiful for us to learn from outside sources, be able to look around and observe and be able to know this is not the path to go, but this could be the path to go, And so, like you were just saying, in your lifetime, you had learned a lot from yourself. we want to make sure that the generations to come, that they can be able to not have to learn from whatever mistakes they made, but be able to look around, be observational, pay attention. This is the outcome of that, Look like Josiah trying to log back in.
I think I was stuck with 30 years of student loans. 30 years. So I'm 61 now. I was 21 when I took out that student loan.
1995.
Huh?
That's a lot of interest.
I was 21 when I took out that student loan, and just 2 years ago, I still had a balance on it. But when Biden had that little initiative thing to pay it off, I had $20,000 left still on that loan. And praise the Most High, Biden wanted to make a name for himself, and he did. He passed that bill and wiped out that $20,000. But the whole course of that loan,
didn't wipe mine out.
Huh?
I don't know why he didn't wipe mine out.
You had a student loan?
Yeah, still got it.
Did you go on the website and apply for the?
Oh, okay. I guess I didn't.
You should have told me, man. I didn't know you had a student loan.
I kind of forgot about it until it popped up on my Credit Karma thing. I'm like, dang.
But that's what we was just talking about when you left, when you went out. It said that the rich rule over the poor. I mean, knowing that, man, shoot, that student loan. You know how much I borrowed? I borrowed. It was like 2,500 one semester, and I borrowed 2,000 the next semester. So it was like $5,000. They sued me in court, tacked on fees, and that
your interest alone superseded the primary loan easily after all them years.
Yeah,
man.
But I kept running from. But that's what I was telling y'all. See, Torah teaches us not to be in debt, right?
Right.
And it's like, oh no, man, nothing, right? So
yeah,
our focus, our goal should be get out of debt, and everything you, because he's a truck driver like me. So when you out of debt, everything you bringing in, that's building up your equity. And if I knew what I know now 30, 40 years ago,
oh yeah.
Look, we would have little centers. See, my thing is I'm not about religion, I'm about building centers, right? We would have Hebrew centers where we would train people that run businesses and stuff like that and build communities and stuff like that. Can you imagine that if we taught our people to do that, we'd be dangerous.
Yeah.
Everybody would want to be a part of the covenant. Then they wouldn't care whether they're Israelite. They like, well, we want to be like y'all. Mm-hmm. Y'all got communities. I'm not talking about what Charles Dow, that control mechanism stuff. No. I'm living like a king while everybody else is living in no, everybody's gotta be on the same plane. We teach those principles so everybody can have that, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if I can get my 30 years back, if I can get 25 of those years back, it'd be a whole different thing.
Yeah. But
you know what? We got the youth. We got Elihu. He got the knowledge. he learned from our mistakes.
Right.
Tell me about it, man. Cause you're like me. Shoot. I'm 50 years old, and I get a CDL. And all I kept thinking about is, man, I should have got a CDL when I was in my 20s. But Eliyahu, he did get his CDL in his 20s.
For sure, right. Indeed.
You got your own truck now? You own your own truck?
Nah, well, let me tell you something. It was just last year. As I was going to go into the hot shot business, but everything had went left because I was sitting there. See, the Most High didn't want me up in Atlanta doing what I was doing. You know what I mean? You know the book of Proverbs say, "He that make haste to be rich have an evil eye and don't know that poverty come to him soon." And so, being in certain areas around certain people, man, I was chasing the dollar. And when you chase a dollar, it run from you. And shoot, I had lost a big 5-digit number that I was about to funnel into the business the trucking business that I was actually opening up. Had all the articles of incorporation lined up. I was making sure I would be able to do all the BCO3 filing with everything, from the be able to either do hot shot or box truck. But as I was getting ready to go buy the truck, some stuff had ran up and I took a major loss, and I'm still trying to recover from that. So I had realized that, you know what, if you're going to be in that tight field, bro, own and operate may not be the only route, but the whole logistics field don't stop running. It don't stop. There's so many other avenues you can be in logistics and transportation as well. And like right now, I've been back and forth off the port in Jacksonville, and like it be opening your perspective, because when you going to get them loads off of that water, you be like, oh wow, we really did got stuff in the United States that got to come off the water and we take it throughout the United States. That business don't stop, man. This what the world running on, indeed.
Yep. Wow.
You still young though. You know you got wisdom ahead of you, and you know us old cats, man. We here for you. And one thing I at my age now, shoot, I tell somebody young, don't worry about having a big corporation. Get a truck, own your own truck, get your credit clear, because you can make. I know a guy, he bought a truck in 6 months. He paid the whole brand new truck off in 6 months. And I'm talking about $150,000 truck. He paid it off in 6 months. And he owns this truck. And matter of fact, this brother's in the covenant. He'll work on the Shabbat. He sit his truck down and go to Shabbat up in Baltimore. I don't know if you don't know him, Moreh Josiah. Do you know the Simmons?
Mm-mm.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, they I met them through Picard Smothers and them.
Okay.
Yeah. But,
you got the Smothers down there in Baltimore with it. I thought they were some New Yorkers.
Yeah, Buffalo, right? That's right.
They in New York. But I met them through their fellowship. They and the Simmons is in Baltimore. I met them through. They used to have a fellowship. Right. So I met them.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm definitely with you on that, Cohen, Chazaq. You definitely speaking, because what I have been realizing lately as well too, when it comes to the kingdom, you know, and we speaking about practicality, not just from a religioso standpoint, but the practicality of what building this kingdom look like. What did Yeshua talk about when you talking about whoever put their hands to the plow and look back ain't fit for the kingdom? You know what I mean? Yep. What all does that entail? And in my humble opinion, in my humble interpretation, I would say that entails the institute building. Actually, right. If we asking for a blessing from the Most High, like give him something to bless. What did you do today that went towards? What did you do today? Or did you think he gonna fall out the sky? I think we all the time be looking for magic shows.
Yep.
Indeed. But yeah, we definitely got to put our hands to the culture. Right?
Yeah.
You know, hey, I had a $30,000 Moreh Josiah had a $30,000 credit card debt. I'm down to under 10,000 in 3 months. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
You locked in, ain't it?
I'm serious about getting out of debt, man. I don't care what the devil or Dick Tracy say, man, because I realize that if I'm free, see, your trucking business is for you to make preparation for what you really have been called to do.
Yeah.
To finance what you're going to do, right? And I know for me, once I'm going to write a book on finance with wisdom, because a lot of people have finance, but they don't have no wisdom with that finance. And you can be broke tomorrow. If you got finance and you don't have no wisdom with it, be gone. So the scripture said, Most High told him, he said, you're going to be in this captivity a while. He said, build houses, plant vineyards, take wives for your son that you might increase, right? So we can increase if we have the application of, like you said, what Torah is telling us how to be successful, right? And we follow that, we'll see. It took me a long time to get this, man. That's why I said, man, if I knew this 30 years ago, it'd be a different story.
Yeah. You're right, but you through the next generation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Indeed, man.
Like me and Moreh Josiah, we grandfathers in this walk, man. We've been around for a long time, and we're not popular like a lot of these brothers that got 1,000 subscribers.
I think the whole thing on that, man,
Uh-oh, he froze up again.
He definitely in that matrix right now. He froze.
We gotta get you on. We gotta get you on the laptop
I
next
can hear
time.
y'all. Can y'all hear me?
I hear you. Yeah, we hear you. You froze.
Oh, okay.
But we hear you.
You know, here's the funny thing, man. Because I had my phone mounted, and the way I had my phone mounted, I couldn't up. So I forgot it wasn't plugged up. So when it went out of the phone, but my other phone was connected to this phone, the hotspot. Are y'all froze? Oh, y'all can still hear me, but on my phone,
we can hear you.
Froze.
Well, we can hear you, but your video's froze, but your audio's coming through.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, that's weird. But yeah, my phone service is through Visible. And on Visible, I have a hotspot. It's free. My hotspot is free. So all my connection, like I don't even have like no home internet. Everything I have is through my phone, through my hotspot.
Hey, Moreh Josiah, I'm gonna tell you like you say used to say. So you still got dial-up, huh? No, you say
Actually, the term he used to always you know what he say? He say, hey, do something with that jackleg connect you got. Yo, jackleg.
Jackleg connection, yeah. Did you ever meet Elihu? Did you ever meet YAH?
Did he?
No, he never met YAH.
Yeah, right then.
Yeah, those were the good old days, man.
Before Elihu.
I remember when he passed though. That was not too. That was probably like 3-4 years ago, ain't it?
Right.
I just never.
About 3 years ago.
I never met him.
Yeah. Okay.
But I seen him on like old videos, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that one video that you see us, me in Chicago, that's when I met Moreh Josiah.
Talking about out there by that water?
Yeah, by that water. Lake Michigan.
Yeah. Oh, that was Lake Michigan.
Yep.
Hey, I'm gonna end the stream, but we can keep talking. I'm gonna end the live part.
Oh, before you end the live part, man, I want to make this point too.
Okay, go ahead.
But for the people of One West to consider also is in regarding the Gentiles, man. If it was, and they, Ellie, who know I've say this a lot in our lessons, but if it wasn't for the work that Yahshua did and having to bring in the Gentiles, then there's no way we would have what we knew, because all our Bibles we got and all that came directly through Gentiles, and that whole operation in terms of that. Father is very systematic if you understand how he operates, how he functions. That was like my inspiration. If you can hear me, I don't know if y'all can hear me. That was my inspiration in the book Shemaiah the Lawgiver. Because in Shemaiah the Lawgiver, it brings out the whole thing with Caleb, but there were other people of other ethnics that Shemaiah used, even in formulating us as people, that we just lose sight of. Like his father-in-law, Jethro, or Reuel, because he had, I guess, he was instrumental in counseling Shemaiah and how to go about judging the people. Reuel had a son. This is in the Bible. This is our King James Bible. He had a son who was also a Moabite, and he was a good scout. So Shemaiah commissioned him to go out before the people and to be a guide through the wilderness through this Moabite guy that was his brother-in-law. And that's in the Bible. That's not in the book. That's in the Bible. But in the book was about not only showing the aspects of the multicultural dynamic of our nation, but it was also to magnify us that we had when we was in the wilderness, that part of our heritage that eventually being where we are now, enemy among the nations, and how
Uh-oh. He stopped.
Yeah.
Okay. Woo. Oh, man. You still there? Uh-oh.
His phone went all the way into the Matrix.
Well,
I'm finna get rid of laying my plan for the night.
okay. I'm gonna give him another minute to see if he comes back up. So you want to give us your closing thoughts?
Indeed. My closing thoughts is, for one, I'm gonna have to go back and finish watching the video. I know it's 3 hours long. Lord have mercy. They were putting in some major work with that. I was also wondering, because it seemed as if that somebody may have to have in mind and bearing in mind the fact that you see throughout scriptures in Jeremiah 51 and also in Zechariah 14, where these nations are being destroyed and burned and people being killed. I think that would kind of help validate some people with their understanding, saying that no, salvation is to Gentiles, because they bearing in mind the prophecies about Gentiles nations being destroyed. Well, for one, I think we'll have to look at it like this, right? For one, we dealing with individuals who would definitely like to cleave on to Israel, are not now being subjoined to this nation. Me, I like to go by definitions, right? Definitions bring us to a place to determine a nation. In my understanding, is an aggregation of people. They got like a legalistic relationship to a land, language, and culture. And all the time, and it don't always necessarily denote ethnicity. But with that being said, if we got a nation of people and people grabbing on to Israel, this nation of people, then wouldn't these people that's grabbing on be considered Israel too, right?
Yeah.
So with that being said, this could help validate the point that some of the people bring up when they say salvation is only for Israel.
Because now somebody could say, well, shoot, these people that grabbed on to Israel, the Gentiles, the Gersadek, they Israel too. So again, I guess somebody could still drive that point home saying that, yeah, everything outside of Israel being destroyed, especially when you look at prophecy like Jeremiah 51, Zechariah 14. It's like whatever don't get in line with the program of Israel is getting wiped. And I think that would kind of help with validate some of the points that somebody could bring up opposing to what we saying. Would you say that? Would you say?
Right.
Because it's some points that they could bring up on the other side. It's like, well, shoot, we saying that it's salvation only for Israel. We're doing then with shoot. Can individuals from other nations come join Israel? Now they consider Israel. Is it still salvation only for Israel? Because what I'm saying is these people converted. Now they Israel. And then outside of that, what Jeremiah 51 say, I'm gonna use y'all as a battle axe to destroy the nations around y'all. Zechariah 14 say the same thing. I think that's some of the driving points for those people that hold that doctrine, is that everybody else getting killed and destroyed.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing with that. The thing with that is that people don't understand what salvation means, because salvation is not there are more than one form of salvation or being saved. And I think this is where people err at. Let me see. The best thing to do that is to break down Romans 11 chapter, because when it talks about the Gentiles have come up in salvation, wait a minute, I don't want to misquote it. Hold on one second. Because and this is very important, because what we do, we limit salvation to one thing when it actually has more than one meaning. And I think we kind of misconstrue Israel salvation. Hold on one second.
Oh, he went out. When the battery went down again, man. We got 6 people still tuning in. His phone went out again.
Lord have mercy.
We got to get him. We got to get him on AT&T or Verizon or something.
Yeah, he should have just got on his laptop probably and leave that phone alone.
Yeah. No, my connection is through Verizon actually.
Oh, you got Verizon?
Well, no, I got Visible, which is visible by Verizon.
Oh, well, you know they cheat you out of them towers when you got to, because they don't give you the best tower. I used to have a service like that.
Yeah.
They was like from the parent family, but they didn't give you all the good towers.
Okay. Are you talking about Straight Talk? Straight Talk?
No, I had what's it called? Xfinity.
Okay.
Xfinity, they use Verizon's towers, but they don't give you all of the towers that Verizon people, because they pay more money. But go ahead.
All right, let's look at hold on one second. So I'm gonna read 2 passages just for Israel to consider. It says the first one is out of the mouth of Zechariah and Luke, the first chapter and verse 68 or verse 67. I'm picking up at verse 66, verse 67. And it reads, oh man, I don't know. It's this app seems like it's doing crazy stuff, but y'all can still hear me, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. There y'all go. Okay. There y'all go. And his father Zacharias was filled with the Ruach HaKodesh and prophesied, saying, Blessed be Yahuwah Elohim of Yashrael, for he hath visited and redeemed his people. Visited and redeemed his people. So understand that in that verse, Israel was in a state that they had to be redeemed or saved. This, according to the state that they were in at that time, or and the state that we are currently in, as a matter of fact. It says, and have raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David, as he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world begun, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. So this is a specific form of salvation that applies to a spoiled nation of Israel. But we think it's a religious dynamic, but it's not a religious dynamic. It's a literal national saving of a people, which does not exclude the actual dynamic of the world itself being saved at the time of the end. But the foundation of that is based off of the rebirth of the nation of Israel that's being bought from a state of enslavement, if that makes sense. But I don't think that we understand that totally, especially as Israelites. We try to put it all in a nutshell without really breaking down what salvation really is. And Zacharias put it in a nutshell concerning Israel's salvation, because the other nations are not in the position that Israel is in. Everybody else in the entire world still have their identity. They still have their culture. They still have their nationality. They have their country. They have their currency. We're the only people of the entire earth that lacks those things, which according to the American Constitution, they call us 3/5. Because we're 3/5 of a people, because we're void of what every other person on this earth has. And we absolutely have to be saved from this unified condition that we're in. Mm-hmm. So consider Romans 11 chapter, where it gives us this insight, where it says in Romans, let me see. I'm going to start this at the top, man, because this is pretty heavy. Romans 11, starting at verse 1, he said, I say then, have Elohim cast away his people? Paul's answer is, Elohim forbid, for I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham of the tribe of Benjamin. Elohim have not cast away his people which he foreknew. Now, here's the thing. The truth of the matter is the Father did cast us away. He cast us away and he hid his eyes from us. We can see that all throughout the scripture, but Paul is going to make a case for the remnant here. That's what he's going to make a case for. So he says in verse 2, Elohim have not cast away his people which he foreknew. What the scripture said of Elijah, how he make an intercession to Elohim against Israel, saying, Yahuwah, they have killed thy prophets and dig down thy altars, and I am left alone, and they seek my life. But what said the answer of Elohim unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal. So even so then, at this present time, also there is a remnant according to the election of grace. Okay, I'm skipping down. Verse 7. What then? Israel have not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election have obtained it, and the rest were blinded. Now consider that the election have obtained it on a spiritual dynamic, right? But physically, we're still all lost. Would you say that's correct?
Right.
Right. So Israel as a whole, man, we're all still lost. But he's saying from a spiritual dynamic, the election have obtained it, and the rest were blinded. According as it's written, Elohim have given them a spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, ears that they should not hear unto this day. And Dawid said, let their table be made a snare and a trap and a stumbling block and a recompense unto them. Let their eyes be darkened that they might not see and bow down their back always. Wow. I say then, here it is, I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? Elohim forbid, but rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles for to provoke them to jealousy. Now that begs a question.
Okay.
What exactly is this salvation to the Gentiles? Is it just a spiritual, or is it physical and spiritual?
Right.
Could we understand the spiritual dynamic of Gentiles because of the fact that we didn't do our job? They were without, as Paul says in another place, without a God in the world, or without Elohim in the world. And because we didn't do our job in another place, it said that he winked at the nations. But now he, paraphrasing, bid all men to come unto righteousness or whatever.
Right.
Okay. So it says that, but rather it says specifically through our fall, salvation's come unto the Gentiles for to provoke them to jealousy. So are we jealous because they are now partakers of the righteousness of YAH? Or are we jealous because they have a better quality of life because of our fall? See?
Let me interrupt you for a second with a question.
Yes.
Thinking like one West people think. Those people that have the riches are Israelites that return back to the covenant. They're rich in spirit.
Whoa, but you know what though? Genesis dealt with that specifically, and they did very good in that. They sounded like you, Aki. They like, man, how can the Israelites go into captivity and then they prosper all of a sudden? That's impossible. The way he said it, they broke that down, which was awesome. But like you say, that's ludicrous that the Father would put the northern kingdom in captivity, and all of a sudden they prosperous now. That don't even make common sense. Anyway,
So it's not rich in spirit. It's literal riches.
Well,
you continue to read it. It explains.
Well, okay. First of all, I'm gonna maintain that it's both of them. But before I get to that, I want to make a note that in this writing, he don't say nothing about Yahudah as opposed to Israel. When he says Israel, he's referring to all of us here. And that's really clear to understand, really clear to see. That we all collectively, the entire kingdom, 12 tribes, have failed. The 10 tribes went out before Yahudah did, but eventually we joined them. There's a scripture in Ezekiel, the 5th chapter, I believe, that said that we joined them in I'm saying we. Yahudah joined Israel in captivity. But it says here, it says, what verse did I leave off? Verse 11. I say, then have they stumbled that they should fall, Elohim forbid, but rather through their fall. And see, that's the key. Through our fall, salvations come to Gentiles for to provoke them to jealousy. So basically, he's saying that our falling is what? We being led away captivity into all nations. All the nations that we were carried away captive to, and specifically America, America would not be where they are financially and every aspect of the world unless we were brought over here to serve them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we're jealous now because we look at the state of the citizens, and I say citizens because we're not citizens. We're not citizens. We are not able to benefit from the same rights of citizenship as the real citizens of this country. And we see that each and every day. We see that all day, every day. To this day, we see it. So when we see certain things that happen and say, man, well, our brother here, he got all this time locked up. Like R. Kelly, for instance. Look at what R. Kelly have done. And he ain't even got we don't even know when this dude will come out of jail. And all these Gentiles that have done the same exact thing, or maybe even worse, and they get slaps on the wrist. You know? You got P. Diddy again. His only thing that he's charged with was for prostitution. And he's still in jail, which is unlike anybody else that were given the same charge that he's charged with. And, you know, the examples go on and on and on. You know, they kill us. Innocent people kill us, and they're not judged at the same rate as if we were to do the same crime that they did. You know, the people that are innocent, the things that innocent people have to deal with at their hands. And it goes on and on. We see it at each and every day. And these things that we see makes us jealous, which is the foundation of One West when you think about it. One West, a lot of their ideology, what you call it, Elihu, you still on? Did we lose Elihu?
He stepped away from the camera, but he's probably listening.
Okay, he called it trauma bond. I think there's another term he used, but that's the doctrine that we're subject to, doctrine that is created out of trauma. And that's what New York Israelites are based a lot of their doctrine from that. You know, everywhere outside of New York, you know, we like, okay, we Israelites, and you know, we for the most part did not have a prejudice slant toward being Israel. But when Jerry Springer and Maury Povich and all of them put these cats on TV and gave them the nationwide fame, that was what brought them out in terms of their being very antagonistic against Edom / the white people. And that's been the foundation of their whole movement.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, Paul is telling us right here that we as a people collectively were that through our fall, salvation is come to the Gentiles to provoke us to jealousy.
Mm-hmm.
And then he say, look what he say here in the next verse. He said, now if the fall of them be the riches of the world, wow,
Mm-hmm.
that's the salvation.
Mm-hmm.
He's clearly telling us that if our fall be the riches of the world, and that's not even hard to even analyze.
Right.
And the diminishing of us, the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness.
Mm-hmm.
For I speak to you Gentiles, and as much as I am the apostle to the Gentiles, I magnify my office, if by any means I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh, and might save some of them. So not only he's talking about us being saved by first eliminating that spirit of jealousy that we have for the Gentiles.
Right.
By doing what? Embracing the role that we were created to be, which is a nation of priests.
Right.
If we focus on being a nation of priests as we were ordained to be from the beginning, we will understand that it was our own wickedness that brought us to where we are. That the Gentiles themselves had no power to do all of this wickedness against us unless the Father gave them the power to do it.
That's right.
We can see that throughout the entire scriptures, specifically when we were a nation. We had a bad, idolatrous king over us, which was wicked, and so goes the people, and then we would fall. And then another king come up that may be righteous, and now we will see a restoration of Israel, like when King Yoshiyahu became king, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a few others like him, Hezekiah, a few others like him. It changed the nation, but we never was able to maintain it because we always naturally, for whatever reason, allowed the adversary to mess up our minds and bring us back into idolatry. So here he's saying, then he said, for if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, wow, the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world. Meaning that at the rate that we were going, the world could not be reconciled, Moreh.
That's right.
The rate that we were in, because remember when Yahshua was here on this earth, we literally had a systematic law that prohibited us from even dealing with the Gentiles. They were, in effect, what One West represents today, Aki.
That's right.
That ain't a hard. That's not hard to see. It's not hard to see at all if you look at the foundation of One West and think about how we were back in Yahshua's day. It was the same exact principle that prohibit us from being the priest nation of YAH. So therefore, we had to be brought low, and by our being brought low, and how he said it again, for if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be but life from the dead? And then he goes on to talk about, so I'm just pretty much trying to give a understanding of what this salvation, when we say salvation from Israel, well, yeah, if you understand the reality of what that salvation is, it's talking about the restoration of a defeated nation, restoration of an oppressed people. So that in itself can't really apply by itself to other nations, because the other nations are already doing what they're doing.
That's
And
right.
so I don't think that we think in terms of what that is. We think it's all about, whatever, being saved from the lake of fire or whatever. No, it's more to it when we talk about the salvation of Israel. But yet and still, the remnant, which we are the remnant, are the ones that are preaching the true gospel, which is a gospel for anyone that have an ear to hear, to bring them into the covenant that the Father made with us. So again, One West don't look at it from a total dynamic. They look at it from just, I can't, from their very limited viewpoint, if that makes sense.
You're right. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So that was an excellent breakdown. Excellent
Oh
breakdown.
man, all praise, hallelujah.
Well, look, I see you getting sleepy now. So am I. I had to take my camera down.
Okay. Shockingly, I'm not. Shockingly enough, I'm not though.
Yeah.
Usually I am, but right now I'm slightly energized, man. But I know that you got to open it up in about what, 10 hours?
I don't know. This might be the Shabbat right
here. You'll be all right.
We'll see. Because
I definitely, I'm always there at 9 a.m. without fail. I'm never not in there at 9 o'clock. I might not say nothing, but I'm there.
Yeah, I generally get up at 6 o'clock, regardless of what time I go to bed.
Right.
So
me too. Me too.
I'll be up there with one eye open.
Uh-huh. That's all right.
I gotta go over my notes because I spend all the time on this stream. I gotta go over my notes in the morning. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. Hey, but this was good, man. This was good. A lot was bought out. And I hope that, some One West members or whatever could get on and glean some knowledge and understanding from, what the Father calls us to share tonight.
For sure. So, those 6 people that's still here, appreciate you coming in, spending time with us in this session, and we'll probably have a continued discussion on this because we just kind of test the service. Maybe we'll do a little clips from it and in another session. I don't know.
Yeah.
So we'll see if time permits. But so we appreciate you all for joining us on the stream. And for those of you that will be joining us back tomorrow at 9 a.m., we will see you at the appointed time. All right. So until that time, we're gonna say bid you Shabbat Shalom and light a toast.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.